Chapter 3970. A fourth heaven late-stage cultivator dared to boast shamelessly, wanting to enter the holy rankings? What kind of joke was this? Ignorant. Lin Xian sneered and shook his head. You are courting death. Yi was completely enraged. The other party had always acted like he was deep and profound. This made him furious. What was he acting for? His cultivation was inferior to his, so kill him. Yi waved his hand. Immediately, the two people beside him rushed up, their spears turning into giant dragons as they slaughtered their way forward. Lin Wudi, kneel down and accept your death. Boom boom. The spears trembled, the power of desolation pervading the air. The space in front of them continuously shattered, drowning out Lin Xian. They retracted their hands, laughing coldly. Even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Don't worry, we controlled our strength so he won't die. However, he only had half a breath left. The two sneered. However, when the space in front of them disappeared, they were stunned. Because Lin Wudi was standing there, his hands behind his back, completely unharmed. How was this possible? The two of them widened their eyes in disbelief. Lin Xian flicked the dust off his body. This was the full power of the two of you? Too weak. You were just scratching my itch. You two should also take a punch from me. He took a step forward, a fist smashing out. The bodies of two saints of the great desolate mansion exploded abruptly. Blood splashed onto Yu and the others' faces. How was this possible? The other party was so strong? These people from Great Desolate Mansion went crazy. Lin Xian retracted his hand, shaking his head. Toad, you go. These people are too weak, I'm not interested. Fuck, this great one is not interested either. The toad rolled its eyes. Lin Xian laughed. If you win against these people, they will all become your human pets, and the things in their storage rings will all be given to you. Really? The toad was interested this time. This is not bad. Come, this great one will fight you 300 rounds. Damn it. These people from Great Desolate Mansion were about to grind their teeth to pieces. A toad dared to show off in front of them? Lin Wudi, what is the meaning of this? You actually dare to look down on me? Yu roared crazily. He was going crazy. No one had ever dared to look down on him. I want to fight you one-on-one. One-on-one? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian walked out. Do you want me to give you a handicap of one hand or 3 moves? You're courting death. The other party's condescending attitude made him very unhappy. He opened his mouth and spat out a black storm. It turned into a sharp blade that slashed forward. Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his hand, shattering the storm. The void in the middle was torn beyond recognition and shattered beyond recognition. What a strong physique. This scene was too frightening. This was Yu's attack. The other party actually received it barehandedly? The experts of the Great Desolation Mansion felt their scalps go numb. They had always thought that the rumors about the other party were exaggerated, and that they did not care about them at all. But now it seemed that the other party was ridiculously strong. Yi was also alarmed. Just now that black storm wasn't simple. It carried poison on it, moreover carrying a desolate aura. Even a fifth firmament sage would be injured if they were to come into contact with it. However, the other party had easily shattered it. Thinking of this, his face turned cold. With a stomp of his foot, the void trembled. He turned into a streak of black lightning and pounced forward. At the same time, his palms slapped down. A terrifying light flickered above. A desolate mountain pressed down from the sky. Brat, die for me. He used the Great Desolation Mansion's ultimate technique, Desolation Palm. With a palm strike, the surrounding plants quickly withered as if winter had arrived. How could mere desolation compare to death? Lin Xian snorted coldly and clenched his hand into a fist. The black fist struck out, carrying the overflowing laws of death. The power of death and the power of desolation collided, the two sides continuously tearing each other apart. The plants and demonic beasts in the surrounding hundreds of thousands of miles were instantly deprived of their vitality. Large areas of vegetation withered. Those demonic beasts were also on the verge of death, falling to the ground. That scene was truly too terrifying. The people of the Great Desolation Mansion continuously retreated, supporting their laws to resist. This aura of death was too terrifying. Only the Great Desolation Scripture could block it. Boom. Boom. After an intense collision, Yu retreated, his face filled with shock. The other party actually knew the laws of death, which was incomparably similar to his desolation aura. Moreover, the power was not weaker than his. It was truly too shocking. A fourth firmament ant was actually more powerful than him. One had to know that he was a level higher than the other party. He could kill people of the same level as him like cutting vegetables. But now he could not do anything to the other party. On the other side, Lin Xian was also surprised. To be able to block his laws of death, it was a bit interesting. The Great Desolation scripture was indeed mysterious. As expected of the Holy City's ultimate technique. Then let's see if your desolation is stronger or my death is stronger. The aura on Yu Yu's body became even more terrifying. His eyes released cold lightning like a demon, incomparably terrifying. The terrifying desolation aura formed countless blades that slashed down from the sky. Great Desolation Blade. The entire world was shaking. This was a peerless blade technique. It was incomparable as it ruthlessly slashed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian also used the laws of death. The terrifying scythe of death continuously attacked. At the same time, his other hand struck out with the sun sword. Together with the laws of sword, it erupted with incomparably dazzling light. Both the blade and sword struck out, resisting it head-on. When the two collided, it was as if two worlds had collided, interweaving with an incomparable aura. Boom, boom. Shocking Great Tao was released, causing the saints of the Great Desolation Mansion to be terrified. This Lin Wuti could actually resist the Great Desolation Blade. It was really too inconceivable. Do you think young Master Yu can win? Nonsense, the final victor will definitely be our young master. These people gritted their teeth. Although they said that they were nervous to the extreme because they did not have the confidence to win. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon and Murong Qingqing were also nervously watching. In front, the two people exchanged blows as fast as lightning. Their speed was very fast, instantly colliding over 1,000 times. Then they quickly separated. Lin Xian's aura surged. On the other side, there was indeed a sword wound on Yu Yu's body, piercing through his shoulder. Blood flowed down from his shoulder. Not good, the young master was injured. When the people of the Great Desolation Mansion saw this scene, they were extremely terrified. They did not expect that the one who was injured was actually their young master. Did Lin Wuti gain the upper hand? Should they attack? Their faces were incomparably cold. However, Yu Yu waved his hand, stopping their actions. Brat, to be able to injure me, you have thoroughly angered me. Desolation Heaven Destroying Slash. A desolate blade appeared in his hand, carrying an incomparable aura. The desolation on it erupted. This attack was unparalleled. It caused the expressions of Murong Qingqing, Li Hongxiu, and the others to change. This blade was too powerful. Lin Xian's expression was also grave. You still had a trump card? Good. He laughed loudly. The power of yin and yang merged, forming a taiji diagram, turning into a taiji sword. Chapter 3971. Heaven and earth lost their luster. Only a tai chi light spun, splitting everything apart. Yu Yu's body stopped in midair. The desolate blade in his hand also stopped. A bloody scar appeared between his brows, and it was getting bigger and bigger. With a poochie sound, his body split into two. Ah! A miserable sound rang out, making one's scalp go numb. Young master. The saints of the Great Desolate Mansion finally couldn't hold it in anymore. They screamed in horror. Their young master was actually split into two halves. Damn it. These people rushed forward. Hurry up and attack. Many people charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved his sword. The power of yin and yang blasted these people away. The toad, the dark red dragon, and the others were also angry. What? You want to bully me with numbers? Put it on. They rushed forward crazily. Come, let me teach you how to behave. The toad attacked crazily. The divine toad technique. Each slap could knock out a person's head. On the other side, the dark red dragon was also incomparably powerful. He was simply a peerless Tyrannosaurus Rex. In addition, he was constantly using formations, causing those people to scream miserably. Murong Qingqing and Li Hongxiu also attacked. These two proud daughters of heaven attacked fiercely. They were even more terrifying than the toad and the dark red dragon. Although there were more than 20 saints on Bumblebee's side, they were incomparably miserable. The North Demon didn't attack. He directly summoned the sky-piercing divine tree. It took root between heaven and earth, emitting an extremely powerful and mysterious aura to protect Lin Xian and the others. This was an intense battle, but it ended very quickly, because the Great Desolate Mansion was no match at all. Soon most of the saints were killed. Yu was also beaten up twice. At this moment he finally broke down. His previous lofty ambitions had long disappeared without a trace. Young master, run. The last three people were very strong. They barely managed to survive, but their bodies were covered in injuries. Yu Yu's expression was unwilling. Let's go. They rushed into the sky. Where could they run to? Lin Xian slashed down, enveloping all four of them. That was the yin-yang sword. It emitted a fatal aura. Damn it, I'll fight it out with you. A fifth firmament late-stage cultivator rushed over. He shouted angrily. Young master, leave quickly. He charged forward alone with 2 sacred artifacts. Then he detonated the 2 sacred artifacts. He himself also exploded with a loud bang. This power was truly too violent, enough to overturn everything. Not good. The toad shrieked. Run. Although they were powerful, the might of the explosion of a saint artifact was simply too terrifying. Moreover, there were 2 of them plus a saint. It was too dangerous. Lin Xian instantly activated the Great Sage Pagoda to protect everyone. The Great Sage Pagoda violently attacked. When the energy disappeared, they walked out of the Great Sage Tower. The surroundings were in a complete mess. Yu Yu and the others had already fled. Should he still chase after him? Toad temperature. Lin Xian sneered. There was no need. They were not worth mentioning. Indeed, Lin Xian didn't care at all. So what if he was still alive? Even if there were 10 of them, they still wouldn't be his match. That was why he didn't care about them at all. They continued on their way, heading towards the depths of Heaven's Mandate Planet again. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yu Yu and the other 2 fled. They fled into the distance. Only then did they stop in bewilderment. Damn it. Yu Yu roared towards the sky. It really was too sullen. He was determined to become the unmatched existence of the 9th region. He was going to lead all the saints. However, he was defeated in the first battle, and he was defeated so thoroughly. He brought more than 20 people, but now only 2 remained. It really was too miserable. That Lin Wuti, I will definitely kill him. Yu Yu's eyes were completely red. The expressions of the 2 saints who were still alive were ugly. Young master, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. He is too strong, we are not his match at all. If we continue to provoke him, we might all be wiped out. The 2 of them were also scared. 20 of their companions were all killed. For them, this was a nightmare. They didn't want to experience it again. However, Yu Yu went completely mad. I haven't lost yet. So what if he is strong? I will definitely unite everyone and kill him. Contact Lei Zhen, contact 10,000 Sword Pavilion's people. Tell them that I will form an alliance with them. After I kill Lin Wuti, my older brother, I will give them benefits. The 2 saints still wanted to say something, but Yu Yu snorted coldly. What? You aren't going to listen to me either? Do you really need my older brother to personally give the order? The 2 saints sighed. Young master, please calm down. We will go right now. They were extremely unwilling to accept this. They were already defeated to this extent, yet they still wanted to continue fighting. Wasn't this just courting death? However, they didn't dare to say anything either. It was because Yu Yu's identity and his older brother's identity were incomparable in the Great Desolate Manor. They didn't dare resist. That was why they could only follow orders. A few days later, those people came. 10 sword saints came from 10,000 Sword Pavilion, every one of them incomparably terrifying, indomitable. Thunder God City also sent a few experts, but Lei Zhen didn't come. This made Yu Yu a bit angry. However, soon after, he snorted coldly. If they were cowards, then so be it. These people were enough. Moreover, experts from 10,000 Fiend City also came. This time there were even more people than last time, more than 30 of them. Moreover, they were all elite experts with many saint artifacts. This time, how could they not kill the other party? Let's go. Yu Yu brought his people and slaughtered his way back. The group of people moved majestically through the 9th region. Everywhere they passed, countless people were shocked. What a terrifying aura. Who were those people? They were people from Great Desolate Manor, Thunder God City, and 10,000 Fiend City. There were also experts from some great families. What were these people trying to do? The one leading them was Yu Yu, right? They didn't know who he was going to attack. These people discussed spiritedly. Someone said, when I passed by, I saw many corpses of saints in Great Desolate Manor. I reckon that Yu Yu is going to take revenge. What? Who could kill more than 10 saints from Great Desolate Manor? These people were stupefied. Could it be Lin Wuti? They thought about it and realized that only Lin Wuti could do something so daring. Did this Yu Yu eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? He actually dared to contend against Lin Wuti. Some people sneered. Lin Wuti's strength had long been deeply rooted in everyone's hearts. Even those head disciples weren't his match. What did Yu Yu have? There were others who sneered. What did you know? So what if Lin Wuti was strong? Could he be stronger than the Holy Pilgrimage rankings? Yu Yu's older brother was one of the top geniuses on the Holy Pilgrimage rankings, Yu Quan. Did you think he would fear Lin Wuti? What? It was actually that person? Now these people all saw it. Back then, when the world was divided into 9, they saw 5 figures standing there like gods and devils. That powerful aura made everyone despair. They knew that those 5 people were the ones who stood above everyone else. Perhaps no one on Heaven's Mandate planet was stronger than Zhou Wu's people. Even Lin Wudi had to lower his head in front of them. No wonder Yu Yu was so confident. Chapter 3972. Soon after, Yu Yu brought people catching up to Lin Xian again. They roared angrily. "I've come for revenge. This time you will undoubtedly die." Yu Yu's sacred artifact was ice cold. The people he found were all Lin Wudi's enemies, especially the 10,000 sword pavilion. Right now they were extremely eager to kill the other party. Sure enough, those sword saints were indomitable, their auras incomparably terrifying. "Motherfucker, you all actually still dare to come? Do you really think this great one is a pushover?" The toad was so angry it jumped up. The dark red divine dragon also snorted coldly. This emperor looked for you all last time. Do you all still not want to die? Brat, kill them." Even Murong Qingqing, Li Hongxiu, and the others had ice-cold expressions. These people courted death again and again. They really didn't know the difference between life and death. Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning. He stood out, saying coldly, "Last time I spared your life not because I feared your older brother, but because I felt that you were too trash. Even 10 of you wouldn't be able to pose any threat to me, so I didn't continue to chase after you. But I didn't expect that you actually didn't know the difference between life and death. Even though you are a fly, if too many flies fly in front of me, it will also annoy me. So this time I won't let you go again." Yu Yu was so angry his entire body trembled. The other party actually dared to call him a fly. He couldn't endure it. Kill him for me. Whoever kills Lin Wudi, my older brother will reward them handsomely. Kill. The eyes of a few great family saints turned red. To be able to have a relationship with a heavenly genius on the holy pilgrimage list, this was their supreme glory. As for people like Thousand Fiend City, Thunder God City, and 10,000 Sword Pavilion, there was even less of a need to talk. They had enmity with Lin Xian to begin with, so at this moment they even more so wouldn't hold back. "Motherfucker, this great one is going to die from anger. I'm going to make a move first." The toad roared, its entire body bouncing out, 2 large claws covering heaven and earth, crushing down like a mountain. "Damn toad, you actually dare to be arrogant in front of us." A fierce tiger and lion roared. The 2 of them were both 5th heaven saints, the power of their bloodlines incomparable. At this moment, how could they place a toad in their eyes? The 2 of them laughed nastily and attacked, wanting to kill the toad. The toad roared, "Do you 2 want to die? My bloodline is much stronger than yours." The claws became even more terrifying as they enveloped the 2 beast saints. However, at this time, the 2 of them screamed miserably as their heads flew into the air. It turned out that the 2 sword lights had directly chopped off their heads. "Damn brat, you dare to steal from me?" The toad was angry. It turned out that Lin Xian had made a move. "Brat, you're not allowed to steal the person you found from me." Lin Xian's figure flickered, and his entire body transformed into a Taiji diagram. Half of it was bright like fire, while the other half was pitch black like grinding stone. He brought with him an unparalleled aura. Wherever he passed, he split the 6 saints apart. Too strong, simply unparalleled. Damn it, those people were so scared that they retreated. Yu shouted angrily. "Hurry, don't be scared of him, join hands to attack him." While speaking, he struck out with the great desolate blade, continuously attacking. Meanwhile, at this time, the 10 great sword saints also attacked. "Leave Lin Wudi to us." With a roar, they unleashed an unparalleled amount of sword chi towards the front. Wherever it passed, heaven collapsed and earth split apart. Hong hong hong. This aura was too terrifying. Everyone's scalps went numb. Yu Yu's people all became excited. This was too great. Such powerful 10 sword saints, this Lin Wudi definitely couldn't contend against them. Hurry and attack. They crazily slaughtered their way towards Murong Qingqing, Dark Rainbow Divine Dragon, and the others. A giant pitch-black sword descended. It was as if 100,000 great mountains were descending at the same time. This was a sword saint, moreover what he cultivated was heavy sword laws. It could be said that he possessed boundless strength, able to split heaven and earth. If a saint of the same level was suppressed by this sword energy, their bodies would shatter. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian. How powerful was Lin Xian's physique? Sun sword, endless radiance. 9 suns split the heavens. A single sword tore apart the other party's sword energy. The black mountains that filled the sky were split apart. Not only that, a crack even appeared on that black long sword. How was this possible? That sword saint's pupils contracted fiercely, his heart even dripping blood. This was his treasured sword after all. However, it was actually cracked by the other party. Damn it, who exactly was the other party? Why was his sword technique so fierce? Right when he was distracted, a streak of pitch-black sword light flew over, instantly hacking into his body. The death laws it carried frantically absorbed his life force. He screamed in fright, quickly backing up. In that instant, half of his body caved in. It was as if he turned into a dried corpse. Damn it! He roared angrily, displaying his strength to recover. Meanwhile, the others quickly slaughtered their way over. Lin Xian's palm moved. Endless sword energy interweaved, forming a yin-yang diagram, carrying out a defense. It also carried the power of stars. Each time it spun, it would bounce these people's sword energy away. Lin Xian took action again. The great sun sword, with the light of life, charged towards the injured sword saint. The sword had split him into two halves. He screamed crazily, trying to heal, but it carried the supreme sword energy. In addition, the terrifying flames had already burned his body. He could not heal at all. No, damn it, hurry up and save him. He called for help like his companions. The remaining 9 sword saints were completely enraged when they saw this scene. Damn brat, how dare you? They rushed over crazily, turning into 9 peerless sword lights, tearing everything apart. Lin Xian did not fight against them. Instead, he watched this scene coldly. Those 9 people wanted to save them, but they found that their companions had already been killed. Damn it. Lin Wudi, I will not rest until you die. The 9 people charged over crazily. At the same time, there was someone hiding in the dark trying to sneak an attack on Lin Xian. However, he was shocked by Lin Xian's body. It was directly shattered. Lin Xian stomped his foot, shattering the starry sky for 1,000,000 li. Those people hiding in the void couldn't resist at all. They were all forced out. They spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies shattered. Meanwhile, Lin Xian used Jade Sea Tide, tearing apart these people's souls. Those people screamed crazily. Corpses fell one after another. These people were all horrified. Damn it, how could he be so strong? In reality, when they received the invitation before, they were originally a bit worried. However, when they thought of Yu's identity together with the 4 sword saints, they were full of confidence. They should be able to kill the other party, right? But now they really fought. They were in despair. Why did they have to provoke this demon king? Those who still wanted to assassinate quickly retreated. Only the 9 sword saints dared to fight against Lin Xian. The 9 sword saints' hair flew about chaotically, sword energy overflowing into the heavens. They continuously attacked. In an instant, they even used 10,000 swords returned to origin. Endless sword energy on the 9 people's bodies rushed down with terrifying power. Slow sword. Chapter 3973. Lin Xian's speed became very slow. This was the power of the laws affecting him. At this moment, someone attacked again. A golden sword light was unparalleled. This sword law carried an extremely strong attack power, enough to destroy everything. With a clang, he collided with Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian was stunned and retreated, leaving a white mark on his body. However, it was not destroyed. How could it be so powerful? That sword energy was terrified, while the other sword saints shouted loudly. They were affected and their speed became very slow. Now quickly attack. The 9 of them attacked crazily. Lin Xian opened the sky with both hands, and the Taiji diagram kept spinning, sucking all the sword energy over. Those sword energy were all integrated into the Taiji diagram, bound by that power. Lin Xian revealed a cold smile. You want to contend with me with just you? You're still far from it. With a roar, the stars moved and the terrifying power flew out. These sword energy flew back with an extremely terrifying power. Puff 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 puff. The 9 sword saints were forced to retreat and vomit blood. This was their power to kill the other party, but now they were injured. The law of diffusion is very powerful, but it can't do anything to me. Shatter. With a roar, Lin Xian opened the sky with a sword, directly shattering the law space and then charged out. Buzz. He used the Kunping movement technique and arrived in front of that person. Sword law. This sword was very pure and it charged forward. No, that sword saint roared. He attacked crazily with the diffusion sword technique, forming a slowing zone. However, it was useless. Lin Xian's every attack now carried the supreme aura of the great dragon sword soul, so with a sound. This sword shattered the other party's law and pierced into the other party's heart. Then the sword energy exploded, causing that person's body to be torn into pieces. Damn it. Starry Sky sword technique. Another person roared. He used 10,000 swords returned to origin and executed a peerless sword technique. Those sword chis were like stars, forming a starry sky map that covered the entire sky, flashing non-stop. From the looks of it, he wanted to completely suppress Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the Taiji diagram to fight against it. At the same time, like a huge dragon, he floated up. He tore apart the starry sky sword technique and arrived in front of that person. Another sword strike. The yin-yang sword had completely killed this person. The man was split into two halves. Half of his body became a dried corpse, while the other half was burned to ashes by the raging flames. In the blink of an eye, another sword saint had died. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was like a god of slaughter as he began to harvest. With a wave of the 5-element sword art, the sword transformed into metal, wood, water, and earth. They circled around and stabbed into the body of a sword saint. Then the 5 elements merged into one. He killed the sword saint until his soul was scattered. "No, stop it." The remaining sword saints roared crazily. They felt that they were no match for the other party. In fact, he couldn't even block a single sword strike. He was too strong. They felt that even a person at the late stage of the 5th heaven was no match for him. Below the small saint realm, who could compete with him? Let's go. These people's hearts were bleeding. They didn't want to fight anymore. The powerful sword saints retreated. The others became even more terrified. They were also killed miserably. That was because, other than Lin Xian, everyone else was extremely powerful. They were not weaker than the chief disciple. How could they be a match for him? Want to leave? Don't you think it's too late? Lin Xian struck out with supreme sword chi. The Taiji diagram covered the sky and the earth, and the yin-yang aura hung down, blocking all paths. He charged towards the remaining sword saints. Damn it. Those sword saints roared. They were going to fight it out with him. 10,000 swords returned to sect. Endless sword chi surrounded them. 4 sword saints charged over and fought with Lin Xian. However, they were all killed in the end. Lin Xian also suffered some injuries, but it was not a big deal. The more he fought, the braver he became. Under his feet, the corpses of the 10 sword saints prostrated. He was like a god. He turned his head, and his eyes were like lightning as he stared at a figure in the distance. Oh. When Yu saw this scene, he almost knelt on the ground in fright. How was this possible? How could the 10 sword saints be killed so easily? Was he still human? Right now, Yi was extremely regretful. He felt that he seemed to have made a wrong decision. The other party's strength far exceeded his imagination. He seemed to have provoked someone he couldn't provoke. Beside him, the 2 great desolate manor saints also felt their scalps go numb. Too strong. They seemed to have seen Yu Quan in the past. Back then, Yu Quan was invincible like this, and in the end he became one of the peerless experts on the pilgrimage list. And now, Lin Wudi was too similar. "Young master, let's go." The 2 saints persuaded him. Actually, even without them saying, Yu already wanted to leave. He nodded and quickly retreated. At this time, the toad sent a slap over. "You want to escape? Take this. Toad divine art." With a pu sound, 2 terrifying large palms slapped the 2 great sage individuals until their chi and blood surged. They stopped. "Damn Toad, you're courting death." Yu roared, a blade hacking down. This blade was incomparable. The toad's 2 claws brandished, catching the blade bare-handed. With a peng sound, he directly clamped down on the long blade. Yu was shocked. He had always been a toad, yet his strength was already this strong? He felt like he was about to go crazy. Meanwhile, at this time, Lin Xian already slaughtered his way over. Terrifying killing intent made the 3 scalps go numb, their bodies go ice-cold. The toad snickered. "How about it? Brat, this great one helped you stop this fella. I've done a great service." Yu turned around, his eyes carrying biting cold killing intent. He roared angrily. "Brat, what do you want? Do you dare touch me? My older brother is Yu Quan. If you touch me, you'll get on the pilgrimage list, right? You'll undoubtedly die. Idiot, you still dare to act so arrogantly even now. You really don't know the difference between life and death. I already said that you're just a fly. I can't be bothered to make a move. Toad, I'll leave this person to you. After you torture him to death, I'll let you eat roasted golden crow." "Really?" When the toad thought of that delicacy, its eyes immediately shone. Good, just see if this great one doesn't beat him to death." He attacked crazily. "You're courting death." Yu roared angrily. The 2 great sage individuals also roared, quickly attacking. "Young master, you leave first." Just as they made their moves, a yin sword and a yang sword stabbed into their bodies, causing them to explode. The 2 were stupefied, dying with remaining grievances. Lin Xian released a cold snort. Just you two, you dare act arrogantly in front of us? Only Yu was left. Lin Xian didn't care at all. He'll just let the other party die in the hands of a toad. This was the most sullen way to die. Then he began to look around. The surrounding people were already in miserable states to begin with, not a match at all. When they saw Lin Xian walk over, they were immediately scared witless. Pu, the experts of several great families directly knelt down, continuously kowtowing. Spare us. We were blinded by greed, tricked here by him. We beg you to spare us. Lin Xian released a cold snort, the death-sharpening blade continuously brandished. Since they dared come, then they should have thought of the consequences. He took away all of these people's vitality, turning them into piles of white bones. Chapter 3974. As for the remaining people, there was no need for him to make a move. Murong Qingqing and the others directly killed them on the spot. These people's statuses and strength were all extremely powerful, so they weren't afraid of offending them at all. In the end, the ground was covered in saint corpses, blood flowing like a river. The earth sank, the sky shattered, unable to withstand the fall of so many saints. The entire 9th region was filled with ghostly wails and wolf howls, a rain of blood filling the air. At this moment, the people scattered in the 9th region all raised their heads towards the sky. It was raining blood. Heaven and earth mourned. Heavens, how many saints died? Who was it? A great battle was happening? They couldn't help but tremble. Lin Xian and the others were surrounded by mountains of corpses and seas of blood. The people who came to assassinate them apart from Yu were all dead. Right now, Yu was also beaten beyond recognition. He was continuously tortured by the toad, his entire body shattered, screaming crazily. In the end, the toad smashed the other party's head with a palm, wanting to kill the other party. Right at this time, a figure flew out from the other party's shattered head. It was a hazy figure, displaying a terrifying aura as soon as he appeared. The toad's attack was shattered. He stood there like a demon god. Damn, he actually still had a trump card. The toad was given a fright. Murong Qingqing and the others also turned around, frowning. Lin Xian's eyes were like rainbows looking forward. There was a pitch-black demonic figure in front of him. Who dares to harm my younger brother? The black figure said coldly. Yu Quan. Li Hongxiu frowned, then looked towards Lin Xian, saying softly. This should be a soul imprint that Yu Quan left on his younger brother. Soul imprint. Lin Xian coldly snorted, looking forward. Your younger brother has tried to kill me time and time again. He deserves 10,000 deaths. Do you think you can protect him? Audacious. That black figure said coldly. Who do you think you are, daring to contend against me? All of you kneel down and accept your death. Although it was only a soul imprint, it displayed supreme divine might. He looked down on everything, not placing the world in his eyes. When Lin Xian heard this, he laughed. Did he really think he was a great emperor? You're just a little saint at best, and you're just a soul imprint. Do you think you can scare us? Lin Xian gripped the death demonic blade and strode forward. And it seems like you don't know what's good for you. Yu Quan's soul imprint was completely enraged. On the side, Yu's soul also continuously screamed. Brother, kill him, help me kill him, tear his corpse into 10,000 pieces. Lin Xian's death demonic saber slashed down, and Yu Quan's soul mark resisted. A great battle ensued. Not long after he was killed. Although secluded spring was powerful, he was only a wisp of soul imprint and was unable to do anything to Lin Xian. When he saw that soul imprint shatter, Yu's soul screamed. His brother's soul imprint had been destroyed. Damn it, impossible. He screamed crazily as Lin Xian used the great dragon sword to split him apart. His soul was completely destroyed. At the same time, in the depths of District 7, a frenzied roar could be heard. The great Tao of heaven and earth intertwined as if the end of the world had occurred. All the sages in Division 7 felt their scalps go numb. Changtian, what had happened? This aura was truly too terrifying. Just who was it that was angry? They all trembled, not daring to move forward. Meanwhile, in the depths of District 7, there was a man in black armor, looking like a demonic god. His eyes were completely red. Damn it, you actually dared to kill my little brother. I will definitely tear your corpse into 10,000 pieces. The person who was roaring was precisely Yu Quan. His soul imprint had shattered, so he naturally sensed it. That was why he knew everything that had happened before. The followers beside him were also extremely shocked. They had never seen Yu Quan so angry before. Moreover, from the other party's words, they understood the situation. It made their eyelids twitch crazily. Was Yu killed? This was too inconceivable. This was Yu Quan's younger brother, and more importantly Yu Yu's strength wasn't weak either. He was the head disciple and his talent was extremely great. Before long he would have a chance to enter the sage rankings. Had such a person been killed? Who exactly was it? Their gazes pierced through layers of the void, looking towards District 9. Young Master who killed the young master. At this time, a beautiful woman at the side asked, "Is that Lin Wuti? He doesn't know the difference between life and death. I will definitely tear his corpse into 10,000 pieces." Yu Quan's voice was exceptionally cold. He really couldn't tolerate an ant daring to fight against him, and even dared to kill his younger brother. The people behind him sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard this. Lin Wuti. This wasn't the first time they had heard this name. It seemed that this time around, there was really an incredible genius that had appeared. This brat didn't know the difference between life and death. Immediately someone stood out. "Young master, don't worry, I'll go and kill him right now." "I'll go too." Another person also stood out. The auras on their bodies surged abnormally. There was no rush. Yu Quan turned around and said coldly, "We are in District 7 and he is in District 9. If we cross over to kill him he will be suppressed by the Great Tao." Moreover, there was fog right now and they couldn't see the situation in other areas. It would be very troublesome if they crossed over. If they went a bit further, their field of vision would widen. At that time they would lock onto him and cross over to kill him. "We will follow the young master's orders." The two of them cupped their fists. Then the group quickly moved deeper into the forest. At the same time, the people in the other 8 areas also moved forward together. In District 9, Lin Xian and the others also set off quickly. During this period they also encountered many obstacles and even encountered big trouble in the end. They had no choice but to stop. Because they couldn't break through the fog with their strength. Therefore they waited. A few days later the people behind all arrived. These people's faces were pale because they passed by the place where the battle took place and saw so many corpses of saints. They were all scared out of their wits. They naturally knew that there was only one person who could do this, and that was Lin Wuti. Now they saw Lin Wuti standing in front as if waiting for someone. They were all afraid. Could it be that he was waiting for them? These people hesitated, not daring to move forward. The toad roared, "Come here." Those people were about to cry. The toad continued to roar, "What, are you all deaf? Hurry up and come here." Being taught a lesson by a toad, if it were any other time, they would have been furious and counterattacked. But now they didn't dare to. This toad was Lin Wuti's subordinate, so they could only brace themselves and go over. "May I know why young Master Lin is looking for us?" These people asked cautiously. The toad opened its mouth and wanted to say something, but it was stopped by the North Demon. The North Demon stood up and said in a deep voice, "The road ahead was blocked by a peerless array formation. We need to work together to break it. Otherwise no one can pass." "Is there a peerless array formation blocking the road?" These people were shocked. "Even Lin Wuti and the others can't pass? That must be extremely terrifying. It seems that we really need to work together." Some of them were quite smart. They immediately cupped their fists and said, "We are willing to follow young Master Lin. Young Master Lin is our leader." Chapter 3975. The others also chimed in one after another. "Yes, we will listen to young Master Lin's orders." At this moment Lin Xian walked out and said, "Okay, but we don't have enough people. We have to wait." The array formation in front was too terrifying. They would probably need to gather most of the sages to break it. These people waited here. Actually, it wasn't just them. The other 8 regions were also blocked by this peerless array formation. They needed to work together. Among them, the 5 regions were led by the 5 geniuses on the pilgrim roll. Nobody dared to disobey their orders. However, in some other regions there were battles and killings. There was no choice. Because the geniuses of some regions stood side by side, these people naturally had to fight. After all, commanding the crowd was a supreme position. These geniuses were all arrogant and unruly. No one was willing to bow down to others. In the 9th region more and more people gathered. In the end Lei Jin also came. The remaining sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion also came. They looked unfriendly. Lei Jin didn't attack immediately. The sword saints did walk over, emitting an incomparable aura. Their 10 sword saints died in the hands of the other party again. Toad glanced at them and sneered. "What? Do you still want to fight? I don't mind sending you to hell." The 5 sword saints snorted coldly and didn't say anything. At this moment the northern demon stood out and said loudly, "I think everyone already knows the situation. There is a peerless array formation in front. We need to work together to break it. Therefore at this time we don't want internal strife. Speaking of this, he looked at Lei Zhen and the Sword Saints. Lei Zhen and the others snorted coldly and didn't say anything. They also knew that they couldn't break it with their own strength. At this time they had to work together. Those who had already submitted previously cupped their fists and smiled. Don't worry, we will definitely follow young Master Lin. Young Master Lin is our leader. When the others saw this scene, they all submitted one after another. Lin Xian's strength terrified them. They didn't dare to fight with him at all. They could work together, but they had to respect him. Lei Jin spoke at this moment. He wouldn't bow down to Lin Wuti. If you want to lead us? The 5 Sword Saints also coldly snorted, their eyes filled with monstrous fury. Obviously these people were not convinced by Lin Xian. What, are you thinking of rebelling? The toad jumped out and the dark red dragon sneered. Come, come, come. This king will teach you how to behave. Lin Xian reached out to stop the two of them and walked out. The two of you don't want to rely on me? Very well, then you can rely on yourselves. At this point, his voice became piercingly cold. Who wants to follow them? I'll give you a chance now. However, from now on, don't even think about coming over to our side. At that time, whether he lived or died, it would be his choice. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about it. Hearing this, the other people who didn't have a choice began to hesitate. From the looks of it, they were given a choice. Should they submit to Lin Xian, the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, or Lei Zhen? In an instant, the majority of the people were on Lin Xian's side. The others hesitated for a moment before leaning towards Lin Xian one after another. On Lei Zhen's side, other than the people from Thunder God City and a few people from Demon City, there was no one else. The 5 Sword Saints were even more miserable. There were only the 5 of them. This scene made them vomit blood. Damn it, a bunch of trash. What do you know? How dare you look down on us? They were so angry that they vomited blood. This showed that the other party didn't think highly of them at all. What qualifications did Lin Wuti have to compete with them? The others lowered their heads and didn't dare to say anything. However, they sneered in their hearts. So many battles had happened before and the 10 Sword Saints had died. What was the difference between these 5? They were very clear that no one could compete with Lin Xian in the 9th district. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian also smiled. Very good, it seems that you have made a wise decision. Don't worry, under my lead you will definitely be able to pass through the formation. Then he looked at the 5 Sword Saints and Lei Zhen. Since you are not willing to respect me, then I won't force you. You can make a living on your own. You have 2 choices. First, you can break through first. Once you break through, you can pass through. Second, let me break the formation, but you have to scram. You are not allowed to come back for 10 days. What? Lei Zhen was about to go crazy. The people of the 5 Great Sword Saints were also furious. Damn it, is he trying to trap us here forever? Lin Wuti, don't go too far. The sword energy on the 5 Sword Saints rumbled. Lin Xian snorted. I have already given you face by not killing you immediately. If you dare to lose your temper with me again, I can guarantee that I will let you go to hell with your fellow disciples. Don't doubt my words. His body emitted an even more terrifying sword intent. Everyone's scalp went numb. It seemed that their choice was correct because Lin Xian's sword intent was much more powerful than the 5 Sword Saints. The 5 Sword Saints' faces also darkened. They were so angry that they were depressed. Damn it, the other party had clearly just condensed the law of sword. Why was he so much stronger than them? Next, Lin Xian and the others began to break the formation. They were unwilling to let Lei Zhen and the 5 Sword Saints break the formation first, so they were chased away. They stood in the distance and felt the terrifying aura and energy in front of them. Their faces all darkened. 5 days later they came back. Lin Xian and the others stopped and turned to look. The dark red divine dragon snorted. What, do you want to take advantage of us? The toad roared. Do you want to take advantage of me? I will drown you with a mouthful of spit. Lei Zhen was fuming with rage, but he still managed to suppress his anger. He gritted his teeth and said, we are willing to join. On the other side, the 5 Sword Saints also said, we are also joining. The surrounding people were stunned. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and the toad came out. What are you talking about? I didn't hear you. Speak louder. I said I am willing to join. Lei Zhen roared and the 9 days of divine thunder rolled. On the other side, the 5 Sword Saints also closed their eyes and shouted angrily, we are also willing to join. Everyone was stunned. Lin Xian looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. It seemed that these unruly people had finally bowed their heads at his feet. Then who do you respect? He asked indifferently. the 5 sword saints said willingly, "You are the leader." On the other side, Lei Jin gritted his teeth so hard that they almost shattered. For the time being, "You are the leader." The surrounding saint experts, they were all stunned. These two forces actually bowed their heads. It was really too unbelievable. One had to know that Lin Wuti was strong and could kill many experts, but it didn't mean that everyone would submit. There were some people who would rather die than submit to someone. But now Lei Jin had submitted. The 5 sword saints had also submitted, although it might only be temporary. But this undoubtedly showed that Lin Xian was really too powerful. Let these peers, even the older generation, they had no choice but to submit. Such a figure was very rare. And once there was one, their future achievements would definitely be limitless. For example, these people on the pilgrimage list. They were born strong or even supreme existences. They could make others submit. Countless experts gathered under them. Lin Xian. Did he want to become such a person? Chapter 3976. In their hearts. It was too shocking. It was incredible. It seemed that the pilgrim list would stir up a storm in the future. Yes, this Lin Wuti had a great chance of ascending the pilgrim list. They didn't believe it before. But when they saw Lei Zhen and the others submit, they knew that Lin Xian would very likely ascend the pilgrim list in the future and become a supreme existence. Alright, since I'm the leader, then listen to my orders. Lei Zhan, you lead people to attack the west. 5 sword saints, the 5 of you work together to attack the east. The rest of you will attack as before. Lin Xian stood above the 9 heavens like a god, giving out orders. The people around him quickly moved. They had cooperated very well in the past 5 days. Lei Zhen and the 5 sword saints were unwilling to give up. They were so proud and powerful before, but now they had to listen to someone else's orders. However, they had already chosen to join, so during this period, no matter how unhappy they were, they would listen to orders. Sure enough, Lei Zhen and the 5 sword saints moved. They began to attack the array according to Lin Xian's orders. 3 days later, Lei Zhen was shocked. The 5 great sword saints were also shocked. To be honest, they were completely stunned in the past 3 days. Their previous displeasure disappeared, replaced by a hint of fear. That's right, fear. Because in the past few days they realized that Lin Xian was really too strong. He was simply unfathomable. It was no wonder that he could kill so many sword saints. On the other side, Lei Zhen's eyes were red. He was extremely jealous. To be honest, he had never submitted to anyone. Even those on the pilgrim list, he thought that he would be able to ascend it one day. But in the past 3 days he was filled with fear of Lin Xian. Because Lin Xian's methods terrified him. He realized that he was completely behind Lin Xian. If he didn't make a big breakthrough in the future, he would be left behind by Lin Xian for the rest of his life. He would never be able to catch up to Lin Xian. That was what he was most afraid of. An enemy that he could never defeat would be his lifelong nightmare. No, I have to break through as soon as possible. Lei Zhen clenched his fists. He wasn't a match for Lin Xian right now, so he wouldn't make a move against Lin Xian. However, he swore that he would break through to the minor saint realm as soon as possible. In this way he still has a chance to turn the tables. As for the other saints, they were even more impressed. At this moment, everyone regarded Lin Xian as the true leader and god, treating him as their leader. No one dared to resist anymore. Under such circumstances, coupled with Lin Xian's mastery of the dark red divine dragon and Murong Qingqing's formidable strength, they were able to make a breakthrough. Deciphering this array formation was like traveling 1,000 miles in a day. Boom, boom. After another 5 days they finally broke through the formation. When the formation shattered, no one dared to believe it. In their opinion, no one under the minor saint realm could break such a formation. However, they had succeeded under the leadership of Lin Xian. And in such a short amount of time. Ah, this is great. These people cheered wildly, thanking young Master Lin. Young Master Lin, your array formation is superb. We admire you. At this moment, these people prostrated themselves in admiration. Lei Zhen and the 5 sword saints also fell silent. They didn't resist or say anything, but their eyes were filled with fear. Let's go. Lin Xian laughed heartily as he waved his hand and led the group forward. They were like a torrent, invincible. In the next few days they encountered danger again. There were formations and even powerful demonic beasts. They were all eliminated by their joint efforts. The same thing happened in the other regions. Except for the 9th region where Lin Xian was. The regions where the 5 saint rankings were located were the fastest. Of course, this speed was only slightly faster than Lin Xian and the rest. As for the other regions, they were relatively slower because they had to go through a great battle to determine who was the leader. Of course, In the end they joined forces. These people joined forces to become the leader, advancing and retreating together. For example, in the 8th region the 9 Qilins swept across the 4 regions. However, he also had a powerful opponent. That was the chief disciple of the Acheron Hall, Lung Rufin. He was very powerful and could even control white bones. Moreover, the Acheron shop also had someone on the saint rankings. Therefore, even though the 9 Qilins had a powerful bloodline, they had no choice but to join forces with him. The two of them were the leaders. In the 5th region, Gao Yu and Bai Luo, these 2 rivals also joined forces. The 2 peerless beauties became the leaders, commanding countless experts and geniuses under them. In the 4th region there was one person who was the leader. The situation was similar to Lin Xian's. This person was called Jian Qin and he was very powerful. He was the chief disciple of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Even the first prince of the New Moon race and the others in the same region were willing to submit. One could imagine how terrifying the other party was. And there was another reason. The neighboring 3rd region was the region where Wang Jinyi was. Wang Jinyi was a genius on the saint rankings and an expert of the 10,000 Sword City. Therefore, the people in the 4th region didn't dare to provoke him. If he crossed regions to fight, no one would be his match. The people in the 9 regions gathered all their strength and began to crack their respective formations and difficulties. Finally, a month later they reached the deepest region. He could already sense a mysterious aura in front of him. The ripples caused the Dao flowers on their bodies to surge violently. At this moment, the heavenly Dao flowers on their bodies were incomparably dazzling and abnormally hazy. However, there weren't many of them. It wasn't that they were weak, but that too many things had happened before. These people had already exchanged for all kinds of natural treasures. The further they went, the more heavenly Dao golden lotuses they consumed. Therefore, in the end, the number of heavenly Dao golden lotuses they condensed became fewer and fewer. This was also why people as strong as Fu Hongye and Huang Shisan could only condense 5 or 6 heavenly Dao golden lotuses at most. Because too many of them had been used up. It was the same for Lin Xian. He had condensed 7 heavenly Dao golden lotuses before, but each heavenly Dao golden lotus was worth a year. Then he killed many more experts. These experts had also exchanged for treasures. None of them had too many heavenly Dao golden lotuses on them. Lin Xian had killed so many experts. At this moment he had condensed 4 heavenly Dao golden lotuses. Among them, Murong Qingqing and Li Hongxiu had 4 heavenly Dao golden lotuses just like him. The North Yao and the Dark Red Dragon had 3. As for the saints under him, they had even fewer heavenly Dao golden lotuses. For now, it was already very eye-catching to have 2 heavenly Dao golden lotuses. However, these people were satisfied. After all, they had already obtained heavenly Dao golden lotuses and exchanged for many natural treasures and cultivation methods. Therefore, even if they didn't have any heavenly Dao golden lotuses now, they didn't care too much. Of course, not everyone didn't care. Top geniuses like Lei Zhen and 9-headed Qilin were very concerned. Chapter 3977. As a top prodigy, he would be laughed at if he didn't have a few heavenly Dao golden lotuses. At this moment, they were in the depths of the 8th level. The area between them was no longer shrouded in fog, so even if they were far away, they could still detect each other with their strength. Especially in adjacent areas, both sides could detect each other. Lin Xian and the others saw 9 Qilins in the 8th area. There was also a man in a yellow robe. They were the leaders. Young Master Lin, that man is the chief disciple of the Acheron Hall, Lung Rufin. A middle-aged man beside him said respectfully. He's from the Acheron Hall. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked into the distance. In the 8th area, 9 Qilins and Lung Rufin also turned their heads to look. Their gazes collided in the air, causing the void to shatter. This person is Lin Wudi? Lung Rufin sneered. The 9-headed Qilin snorted. Yes, it's him. Don't underestimate him. He's very strong. Is that so? Lung Rufin didn't care. That's because he hasn't met me yet. Otherwise I would have taught him a lesson. He didn't care. Although he was also the chief disciple, he could control countless skeletons, and the dead people around him would become his puppets. Therefore he wasn't fighting alone. If they really fought, he could control countless skeletons. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, he wouldn't be able to resist. The 9-headed Qilin beside him was cold and didn't refute. He had fought with Lin Xian more than once, so he naturally knew how terrifying Lin Xian was. Lung Rufin would probably only know that after he suffered a loss at Lin Xian's hands. He looked away from Lin Xian and looked to the side. He saw Li Hongxiu, Murong Qingqing and the others. He paused for a moment and looked behind him again. In the next moment he was stunned. He saw a figure standing behind Lin Xian. It was a person who looked like the god of thunder. Lei Jin. At this moment he was completely shocked. Lei Jin was behind Lin Xian. It was obvious that he had submitted to Lin Xian. It was too unbelievable. In his opinion, Lin Wuti and Lei Jin must have reached an agreement, allowing them to control the 9th district together. But from the looks of it now, that wasn't the case. What exactly happened in the 9th district for Lei Jin to lower his head to the other party? The 9 Qilins didn't understand. Suddenly, his pupils shrank because he saw that there were 5 other people outside the lightning formation. They were sword saints from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. He was actually ranked below Lin Xian. This made him feel even more incredulous. He knew that something terrible must have happened. When Lung Ruffing saw this, he let out a cold snort. Was that Lei Jin? He actually submitted to Lin Wuti. It was really disappointing. This lightning array was too trashy. Thinking of this, Lung Wufeng stared at Lin Xian again with a provocative look in his eyes. Lin Xian naturally felt it too, but he didn't care at all. It was just the chief disciple. He didn't care about him at all. Apart from the people on the 5 great dynasties rankings that he was wary of, he didn't care about anyone else. Lung Wufeng's face darkened when he saw that Lin Xian didn't care about anything. Damn it, was Lin Xian ignoring him? I'll let you know how powerful I am. Lung Ruffing let out a cold snort. Countless white bones swayed around him, causing the people behind him to tremble. Lin Wuti, go to hell. At this moment, a roar came from afar. The people in the nearby districts all looked over. Who was it that attacked Lin Wuti at this moment? The people in the 9th district trembled. It definitely wasn't someone from their district. Sure enough, they saw someone in the distance and quickly killed him. Was it the 8th district? Lei Jin frowned. Was it the 9 Qilins or Lung Wufeng? In the end he found out that it wasn't them. Moreover, it wasn't someone from the 8th district, but someone from the 7th district. Everyone was horrified by this scene. The 9 Qilins and Lung Ruffing were also stunned. Did someone cross 2 districts to kill someone? The 7th district was where Yu Quan was. He was a genius on the pilgrim list. Why would he kill Lin Wuti? Could it be that he was doing it for his younger brother? To clear the obstacles for Yu Yu? Wait, could it be that Yu Yu was in the 9th district? They looked over carefully. In the end, they found that Yu Yu wasn't in the 9th district. There wasn't even a single person from the Great Desolate Manor. What was going on? They were stunned. Where was Yu Yu? Where were the Great Desolate Manor's people? Lin Wuti, you dare to kill our chief disciple? You will definitely die this time. 2 figures descended from the sky in a domineering manner and arrived above the 9th district. An ice-cold voice spread in all directions. At this moment, the people in the 8th district were all stunned. What? Was Yu Yu dead? The people in the 1st district also looked over. Because the 9th district was connected to the 1st district, they were also in an uproar. Yu Yu was actually dead. No wonder the Great Desolate Manor's people would rebel. Yu Quan was probably in so much pain that he wished he was dead. Several people sneered. In front of them stood an incomparably mysterious figure. This figure was called Chao Tianxing. He was from the Limitless sect. He glanced over, then no longer paid attention to them. Instead, he looked at the mysterious Heaven's Fate. He only had one goal, and that was the Heaven's Mandate Stone. Other things couldn't attract his attention. In the 8th district, the 9 Qilins and Lung Ruffing were also shocked. Especially Lung Ru. She simply didn't dare believe it. The other party actually dared to kill Yu Yu. Did he not know who Yu Yu's older brother was? Humph, what an idiot. He was definitely going to die. That was someone on the pilgrim list. They, as chief disciples, couldn't resist at all. Now, even if Yu Quan didn't attack, these followers were still terrifying. Their strength surpassed theirs. After all, these people were much older than them. Some were several hundred years older, some even 1,000 years older. In the sky above the 9th district, 2 figures stood there. On their bodies, there were 20 chains of the Great Path binding their bodies. This was the result of fighting across districts. In one district, 10 more chains of the Great Tao would be added to their bodies. Crossing 2 districts naturally meant 20 more chains of the Great Tao. Not only could the Great Tao chains bind their bodies and make it difficult for them to move, but even their power and laws were suppressed. However, these 2 Dafangfu powerhouses did not care at all. They were Yu Quan's followers. They had followed him for more than 30 years. How powerful were they? Ordinary chief disciples weren't their opponents at all. At this moment, the 2 of them joined hands to kill the other party. Wasn't it easy? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He looked up at the sky. They actually crossed districts to kill him. These people were too arrogant. On the side, the toad coldly shouted, "Get down here." He slapped out with his claws. I hate people standing on my head the most. It covered the sky and covered the earth, completely enveloping the two. Chapter 3978. Aunt, you're courting death. How dare a toad be so arrogant in front of us? One of them stomped his foot, and the space within 1,000,000 miles below him shattered. This force caused the ground to sink and the toad's claws were pushed back. Ouch, it hurts. The toad waved its claws and jumped around. It was red, but it was not broken at all. What a strong physique. The two above were surprised. They did not expect a toad to be a mutated species. However, it was not enough. Their gazes moved away from the toad and stared at Lin Xian again. Kid, kneel down obediently and follow us back. Perhaps you will be able to suffer less. Otherwise, you'll have a taste of what it means to live a life worse than death. Are they from the great desolate mansion? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. I know you're coming, but I didn't expect you to send two subordinates. Are you looking down on me? Hurry up and go back. Let Yu Quan come over himself. His younger brother tried to assassinate me several times. Ask him how he plans to apologize to me. As soon as he said that, the people in the 9th, 8th, and 1st districts were all stunned. Oh my God. Did they hear it wrong? Is this kid challenging a genius on the pilgrim list? That's Yu Quan. He was an expert on the pilgrim list. He was superior to all of the chief disciples because he was a little saint. Although he had suppressed his cultivation base and entered the heavenly fate star, he was still at the peak of the 5th heaven. Who would dare to provoke such a person? But now someone was courting death. The toad also cried out after hearing that. Yes, where's Yu Quan? Let him kneel down and apologize to us. Hurry up and get lost. He roared, and a terrifying aura spread out in all directions. His voice was like thunder, spreading far and wide. In the 7th district, the faces of the followers turned ugly. They looked forward cautiously. Yochuan's face was cold, and his terrifying aura shrouded the 7th district. Everyone did not even dare to breathe loudly. They knew that the other party was finished. In the sky above the 9th district, the two experts shouted angrily. Are you courting death? How dare you insult our young master Yu Quan? You're courting death. We can only break all your bones and let you know what fear is. One of them attacked. With a slap, a terrifying divine chain of laws rushed out from his palm and swept downward. Like a giant dragon, it wanted to bind Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His finger slashed out like a blade. With a loud clang, the chains of law were sent flying. At the same time, he snorted coldly. Just the two of you dare to attack me? You overestimate yourselves. He was courting death. The other person also attacked. He took out a divine spear which was surrounded by a berserk aura. It descended from the sky. Go to hell. The two followers attacked in a frenzy. Their strength caused Lei Zhen and the 5 sword saints to be extremely frightened. It had to be said that these two people had surpassed them and reached an unimaginable height. Although they were both at the late stage of the 5th heavenly layer, the gap between them was very obvious. These two were obviously stronger. On the other hand, Lin Xian sneered. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Unparalleled sword law erupted from his body. At the same time, Taiji also began to revolve. He struck out with his palm like a sun, blocking the divine spear. At the same time, his other palm slashed out. A pitch-black aura appeared on it, like a giant palm of death, enveloping that person. That person roared. The long spear trembled, wanting to counterattack, but the death law on it made him scream. He felt that his vitality was flowing out a lot. He quickly retreated. Lin Xian was even faster. His right hand was golden like a god, and his left hand was pitch-black like a grindstone. Under the combined attack of the two palms, that person exploded. With a spurt, a mist of blood filled the air and a scream sounded. At this moment, everyone was stunned. How could such a powerful follower be defeated just like that? It was as easy as cutting chives. Kid, how dare you? The other person roared angrily. Countless laws condensed in his palm again. Lightning palm. Terrifying thunder spewed out with a powerful aura, wanting to penetrate Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flashed and directly dodged. At the same time, he slashed out with his sword again. With a puchi, one of that person's arms was cut in half. Even the bones were exposed. How could the other party be so strong? They quickly retreated. Lin Xian sneered. Since you're here, don't leave. The sword chi was like a rainbow, carrying an extremely strong sword law. It was as if it was going to tear the sky, cutting the forest in half. In the sky, 2 corpses fell down. Such trash also dared to cross over to kill me. Lin Xian's gaze pierced through the void and looked at the 7th district. If you want to fight, then come personally. Don't you find it embarrassing to send trash over? It was incomparably silent. The surroundings were completely silent. Everyone was stunned. The people of the 9th district were terrified. At this moment they secretly rejoiced. Fortunately, they had chosen to submit to Lin Xian and not Lei Zhen and the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Otherwise they would have been dead by now. Lei Zhen once again revealed a bitter smile. The 5 sword saints were also silent. With such strength they were no match for him at all. The people of the 8th district were facing a great enemy. The pupils of the 9 Qilins shrank. So strong. No wonder Lei Zhen and the 5 sword saints bowed their heads to him. As for Lung Ruffing, the smile on his face froze. Cold sweat flowed down his forehead. The strength of the other party was beyond his expectations. Previously he had been disdainful, thinking that he could easily crush the other party if he wanted to. At least he could create an army of bones. But now he had no confidence at all. The other party had killed 2 powerful followers like cutting vegetables. This method terrified him. The followers of the 7th district were in an uproar. Their companions were killed so easily? It was like a dream. When they heard the other party's words, they vomited blood. The other party actually called them trash? Damn it, this kid is too arrogant. I'll kill him. I'll go too. Young master, let me do it. These people roared in anger. Yu Quan's face was incomparably gloomy. He roared in his heart. Damn it, these 2 pieces of trash are really embarrassing. To be honest, his followers being killed was simply a slap to his face. He turned his head and looked at his followers. Those followers all stopped roaring and waited quietly. In the end he looked at a person beside him. Man Wu, you go. Yes, young master. A tall man beside him said respectfully. Then an incomparable light burst out from his eyes. Bus. He rushed toward the 9th district. When he passed through the 8th district, 10 more chains of the Great Path appeared on his body. However, his speed did not decrease. Instead it increased. Soon he arrived at the 9th district. Chapter 3979. 20 more chains appeared on his body, but it didn't seem to affect him at all. Man Wu was one of Yu Quan's most capable generals. He's an expert from the barbarian race with a strong physique and bloodline. You have to be careful. Li Hongxiu reminded him softly. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The barbarian race? He knew that they were one of the 10,000 ancient races. Like the war race, they were born to fight. They were very strong. The barbarian race was like a primitive people who cultivated the most primitive divine abilities. Very well, let me see what's so special about these primitive tribes. Lin Xian looked at him and said loudly, I won't bully you. I will not bully you. You have 20 chains of the Great Tao. I will let you have 3 moves. You can attack first. Everyone's eyelids twitched. Only Lin Wudi dared to be so confident in front of Man Wu. The followers in the 7th region gritted their teeth in anger. This guy was still so arrogant even when he was about to die. Just wait, he'll definitely die. That was for sure. Man Wu was very strong. How could he block him? Let me have 3 moves? I'm afraid you'll die after 1 move. Man Wu roared. A monstrous blood-colored law appeared, and his aura was unparalleled. It was like a burning furnace. His qi and blood were simply too powerful. This was the law of blood, and at this moment he had already used it. His entire body suddenly rumbled, and his fist was incomparably powerful. His fist charged over. It filled the entire space. Retreat. The people in the 9 regions frantically retreated. Even Murong Qingqing and the others retreated. Only Lin Xian was left on the field. Lin Xian didn't block. Instead he retreated to the side. He said he would let his opponent have 3 moves. He wasn't joking. First move. Lin Xian dodged and said calmly. Man Wu was furious. Was Lin Xian really going to let him have 3 moves? Lin Xian was underestimating him. His second move was to use his ultimate skill. He wanted to finish off his opponent. Xiao Chen's fist turned into a palm with terrifying scarlet saber marks covering it. It was like a scarlet mountain was pushing over. Both the sky and the ground were packed, and there was nowhere to hide. However, Lin Xian still managed to dodge. He appeared in another location, still standing with his hands clasped behind his back, his clothes spotless. The second move. Damn it. Man Wu's expression turned ugly. If he really let his opponent give him a handicap of 3 moves, even if he won he would lose face. Therefore for the 3rd card he had to kill his opponent. The wrath of the god of berserkers. With a roar, he retracted his palm and let out a loud shout. The sound waves turned into a torrent, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. Not good. The ninth region's people's expressions changed greatly. Quite a few of their bodies were blasted apart, blood flowing from their 7 apertures. Quickly defend. They all unleashed their laws to defend themselves. But he couldn't block it at all. Murong Qingqing, Li Hongxiu, and the others joined forces and unleashed their terrifying laws to block the terrifying sound waves. The people behind him heaved a sigh of relief. They were deeply grateful. It seemed that submitting to the other party was the right choice. At least at the critical moment they could save their lives. They didn't know how Lin Wuti would deal with it. The 7th region's people snorted coldly. The barbarian god's roar should be enough to kill him. Lin Xian felt the terrifying impact of the sound waves. He was also stunned. How terrifying. It was indeed a kind of ultimate technique. He couldn't help but want to break it. However, they had agreed on 3 moves. He used the void escape technique to dodge the attack. However, the attack range was too wide, and he couldn't completely leave the 9th region. He could only hide at the edge. He relied on his divine body to block the remaining attacks. The sound waves hit his body, producing a sonorous sound. It completely drowned the void. He hit it? That's great. The 7th region's followers cheered. So what if that kid is strong? He will definitely die after being hit by the barbarian god's roar. Man Wu also revealed a smile. No way is Lin Wuti going to lose? The 9th region's people were terrified. The 8th region's people were also shocked. Lung Ruffing sneered coldly. So that was all he had. He deserved to die. Just as he finished speaking, his smile froze. He saw a figure walk out from the shattered void. His body was covered in a golden light, like a god of war. He was unharmed? How was that possible? Everyone was stunned. Whether it was the surrounding saints or the followers, they were all dumbfounded. Man Wu's expression became extremely ugly. This was the first person to be unharmed after being hit by his ultimate technique. Although the other party wasn't hit completely and was only at the edge, the power was still unparalleled. However, the other party wasn't injured at all. This shocked him. Lin Xian walked out from the ruins and said coldly, 3 moves have passed. It's time for me to make a move. Boom. He circulated his power and punched out. The laws of the sun exploded, and the 9 yang divine fire jumped. He used his divine body and laws to the extreme. The dragon sword soul in his body also roared. Lin Xian didn't hold back. Not good. Man Wu's pupils constricted. He naturally felt the terror of this punch, but he didn't want to retreat. He wouldn't do it even if he was beaten to death. He had already lost face by not killing the other party in the previous 3 moves. If he retreated now, he would definitely lose face. Even if he won, he would lose face. So he roared. Barbarian God Fist. He didn't believe that he would lose to the other party in terms of strength. Even with the 20 chains on his body, he was confident that he would win. The 2 fists collided and the sky collapsed. A terrifying storm and the light of laws drowned everything. No one could see clearly. They waited nervously. However, at this moment, Chao Tianxing, who had been standing with his hands behind his back in the 1st region, frowned and turned his head with a hint of surprise. He was wearing a ferocious-looking mask, but his eyes kept flickering. Interesting, he whispered to himself. Then he turned his head again. In the 7th region, Yu Ming had been staring intently. Suddenly, his pupils constricted. Damn it, this is impossible. He almost roared out. The rest of the people were also stunned. What did the other party see? Could it be that something happened to Man Wu? They waited anxiously. When the laws dissipated, they finally saw what was in front of them. Lin Xian was still shining. He retracted his fist. Opposite him, the once powerful Man Wu was lying on the ground. Half of his body was a bloody mess and one of his arms was long gone. Defeated. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that not only was Man Wu defeated, but half of his body had also been blown up. How terrifying was Lin Xian's punch. Man Wu actually lost, and he lost in terms of strength. The followers in the 7th region were terrified. Sorry, something happened in the morning, so the update was late. Chapter 3980. It couldn't be like that. The truth couldn't be like that. It had to be the suppression of the Dao chains. Yes, Man Wu had 20 Dao chains on him. That was the reason for his defeat. If it weren't for the chains, how could that brat beat Man Wu? Man Wu fell into a pool of blood. His mind was blank. That punch just now made him feel despair. It was as if the one who had attacked him was his young master, Yu Ming. At that moment he felt like he was facing the sacred dynasty rankings. "You're not my match." Scram. Lin Xian said coldly. He had taken the 2 heavenly Tao golden lotuses from Man Wu. Together with the 2 who had died, he had a total of 4. Now he had 8 heavenly Tao golden lotuses. Lin Xian's cold voice made Man Wu regain his senses. He roared at the sky. His broken body quickly reformed. "I haven't lost yet. I still have the power to fight." Man Wu roared coldly. "It's useless. You'll just die if you keep fighting. Let right fist attack. I don't care about you. Damn it." Man Wu attacked again, punching out with both his fists. However, Lin Xian coldly snorted as killing intent appeared in his eyes. He used his law to form a sword light and cut Man Wu in half. This attack was even colder than before. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. Man Wu's confidence collapsed. He had lost again, and it was an even more thorough defeat. This time the sword chi was even more terrifying than the fist from before. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Lin Xian roared coldly. "Man Wu, come back. Don't embarrass yourself there." Yu Quan finally couldn't take it anymore. Man Wu walked back unwillingly. "Brat, if you didn't have the Tao chains, you wouldn't have been able to defeat me. Once we leave planet Tianming, I'll teach you a lesson." With that, he rose into the air, wanting to leave the 9th region. Lin Xian's killing intent exploded when he heard this. "I hate it when people threaten me. So go die." As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying sword chi covered the sky and enveloped barbarian martial arts. Not far away those people roared crazily. Right fist also roared. "How dare you!" He wanted to attack, but it was too late. The sword chi cut Man Wu's body into 8 pieces. He fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. He was actually killed by the other party in an instant. Boom. At that instant, a giant palm slapped across the air. Lin Xian's figure flashed and he dodged. Then he snorted coldly. "You can't hold it in anymore? You want to attack? Come, I'll fulfill your wish." Naturally, it was his right fist that had struck out just now. Seeing that his right fist had missed, he didn't attack again. Instead, his voice was cold. "And you are not worthy of me making a move." Even though the other party had killed 3 of his generals in an instant, he still did not place the other party in his eyes. His target was only the people on the pilgrim roll. "Unworthy?" Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. "I think you don't dare." He snorted coldly. "Since you don't dare to make a move against me, then behave yourself in front of me in the future. Don't think that you're so great. In front of me, even if you're a dragon, you still have to coil up." Lin Xian's words were incomparably domineering. The surrounding people were terrified and Yu Quan's expression was cold. However, in the end he did not attack. "Kid, what do you plan to do next?" the dark red divine dragon asked. Lin Xian looked into the distance. The Destiny Stone was just ahead, right? At that time he would be able to explore the Destiny Stone. "But in the next few days I have something to do." "What is it?" The toad was also puzzled. Lin Xian smiled. "Naturally, it was to collect the heavenly Tao flowers. I want to see where my limit is." Speaking of this, a cold light burst out from his eyes. Last time, his senior brother had finally condensed 6 heavenly Tao golden lotuses. Now that he had 8, it was reasonable to say that he had surpassed Fu Hongye. However, Lin Xian felt that it was not so simple. He would definitely need to consume the heavenly Tao golden lotuses in the future. So now he had to collect as many as possible. Is he still going to collect the heavenly Tao flowers? The toad was shocked and Li Hongxiu frowned. But there weren't many people who had the heavenly Tao golden lotuses anymore. Could it be that he was going to attack the other regions? The others gasped after hearing this. "Lin Wudi, are you going to cross realms to fight?" "That's right, that's what I'm planning to do." Lin Xian really didn't care about ordinary saints. His goal was at least to become the chief disciple, an existence like that. So, he was going to cross realms to fight. His gaze shifted to the 8 zones beside him. The saints of the 8th region were facing a great enemy. What is this guy trying to do? Even 9 Heads was on high alert when he got up. Lin Xian didn't attack the 9 Qilins. Instead he looked at Lung Rufin. This guy dared to provoke him with his eyes. If there was a chance, the other party would definitely assassinate him. He might as well get rid of this scourge now. Lung Rufin's face became incomparably cold. "Damn brat, what are you trying to do? Do you dare to attack me?" He was really angry. Was the other party looking down on him? How dare he cross realms to kill me? "If you dare to come over, I can guarantee that you will die here." Lung Rufin roared. The ground around him flipped open and many white bones appeared. They connected together, forming an army of white bones. It was abnormally terrifying. Lin Xian sneered. He strode forward. Soon he crossed the region and arrived above the 8th region. There were 10 more chains of the Great Tao on his body. Feeling the suppression of the Great Tao chains, Lin Xian was also surprised. His power and laws were suppressed. It was indeed magical. Lin Xian was surprised, but his eyes burst with light and his body bloomed. So what if he was suppressed by the Great Tao? These 10 chains of the Great Tao couldn't do anything to him. You're courting death. Seeing that the other party really came, Lung Rufin was also angry. He waved his hand and the surrounding white bones charged over. To be honest, he didn't think that his strength was inferior to the other party. Moreover, the other party was now suppressed. Kid, do you think you're very powerful after killing those followers? It's just that those followers were suppressed by the Great Tao. Now you're also suppressed by the Great Tao. Let's see how I kill you. The white bones in this place were all extraordinary. Those who could come here and die were all saints. At this moment, these white bones were controlled and their power was really terrifying. It made the scalps of the surrounding saints tingle. They retreated frantically, and the people in the other regions also came back one after another. Lin Wudi was powerful, but would he be able to fight back after crossing the border? The suppression of the Great Tao was no joke. Buzz. Flames jumped on Lin Xian's body. The Sun Law condensed, forming the Great Sun Sword, cooperating with the sword finger technique. The sword slashed forward. Boom, boom, boom. The dozen or so white bones in front of him instantly shattered, and the bones scattered all over the ground. So powerful. Chapter 3981. Damn it. Lung Rufin's face was gloomy. He waved his hand and a white bone spear appeared in his hand. He stabbed forward. It carried a terrifying power and aura. Lung Rufin was able to stand side by side with the 9 Qilins. One could imagine how powerful he was. He was definitely not weaker than the 9-headed Qilin. Following his attack, 9 white bone figures soared into the sky and charged towards Lin Xian. Buzz. Lin Xian was fearless. The sun sword appeared in his hand, and the Sun Law burned fiercely. These white bone creatures all had a cold aura. The Sun Law and 9 Yang divine fire completely restrained them. Coupled with the power of the Sword Law, he was truly unstoppable. Ping ping ping. The 9 white bone figures were split apart. This sword light slashed towards the old bone spear. With a loud clang, the white bone spear was forced back. Lin Xian took a step forward and slashed out with his sword. This sword was fast to the extreme. No one could react. Even the saints did not see it clearly. With a Pucci, blood splattered as a figure retreated. Lung Rufin retreated, holding his shoulder. His face was extremely pale. There was a bloody hole in his shoulder and blood flowed out. He was injured. He was actually injured by the other party's sword. It was too unbelievable. How strong was the other party? Previously he had been disdainful, thinking that he could suppress the other party and even kill him. But now the other party's strength terrified him. The people in the 8th district also screamed. No way, they had only chosen 2 leaders after a chaotic battle. Among them, Lung Rufin killed people like scything flax. A 5th layer saint could not even block a single move in his hands. Not to mention the White Bone army could resist the combined attacks of many saints. That battle was a shadow of their lives. They knew Lung Rufin's strength the best. But now, the incomparably powerful existence in their eyes could not even block a single strike from Lin Xian. Was the gap between them already this big? After seeing this, the people in the other districts also whispered. Some of the stronger followers had solemn expressions on their faces. Lin Wudi was one of the strongest among the chief disciples. I think he can be ranked in the top 3. And that's right. He was indeed very strong. However, he was not invincible. There were still some chief disciples who could suppress him. Are you talking about Jianxin? That's right, the strength of the head disciple of the Myriad Swords Pavilion was incomparably strong. He could definitely suppress this Lin Wudi. I think that the one from the Gu family should be able to do it too. Indeed, he was ranked 3rd at most, or perhaps not even in the top 3. Some people's expressions were cold. The people in the 8th district were stunned. Lung Rufin roared. Damn it, brat, you dare to look down on me? He flipped his wrist and took out a white bone fan. With a wave of his hand, a gust of cold wind blew, incomparably terrifying. It drowned Lin Xian. Go to hell. This was an extremely terrifying saint artifact. Lin Xian tore through the Yin wind and walked out. A Taiji diagram revolved around his body. What? He's not dead yet? Lung Rufin took a few more steps back. He was scared out of his wits. His opponent's strength had completely exceeded his expectations. Is that all you've got? Lin Xian coldly snorted as the death demonic blade appeared in his left hand. With a slash of the blade, the Yin wind in the sky was torn apart. The aura of death swept towards Lung Rufeng. Not good. Lung Rufeng's expression changed drastically. He felt his vitality slipping away. This was unbelievable. One had to know that he was someone from the Yellow Spring Hall. What he was most proficient in were Yin laws and power. But now the other party was even more proficient in this power than him. How was this possible? He really didn't want to believe it. However, he also didn't want to fight. After using the White Bone Treasure Mountain to send out a few gusts of Yin wind, Lung Rufeng continuously retreated. Lin Xian opened and closed, all kinds of sword energy surging, easily splitting apart all of the attacks. He forced Lung Rufeng into a corner. Now he still dares to provoke me? Everyone was shocked. Lung Rufeng gritted his teeth and said, "Damn brat, do you dare to touch me? Our Yellow Spring Hall's experts are all geniuses on the pilgrimage list. Try touching me. Looks like you really don't know life from death. Is Yu Quan strong? Didn't his younger brother also get killed by me? Do you think you can compare to Yu? Damn it." Lung Rufeng's hair stood on end. Right, even Yu died. The other party simply didn't have any misgivings. You win. He threw the 4 heavenly Dao golden lotuses into the sky and ran towards the 7th region. Soon 10 great Dao chains appeared on Lung Rufeng's body. However, he let out a sigh of relief. This region had Yu Quan guarding it. The other party definitely didn't dare to rashly step into it. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He looked towards the 7th region. He didn't enter. This made Lung Rufeng let out a sigh of relief. But soon, his expression became incomparably ugly. Lin Xian didn't attack him. Instead, he attacked his subordinates and fellow sect members. In the 8th region, apart from Lung Rufeng, there were also some Yellow Spring Hall experts who were being attacked crazily. The sword auras easily split their bodies apart. Damn it. These people roared crazily. They originally wanted to join forces to attack, but they were quickly beaten until they collapsed. These people were helpless. They also wanted to escape to the 7th region to seek protection. However, soon they stopped at the edge of the 7th region. Sword energy pierced through them. These people were all killed. Lung Rufeng's heart was bleeding. In the other region, which was the 2nd region, those people also looked solemn. Damn it. This Lin Wudi dared to kill so many experts of the Yellow Spring Hall. Emoshio turned his head. He held the white bone spear in his hand, and the yellow spring surged on his body. Do you really think that no one dares to kill you? Emoshio was on his way. He couldn't help but want to do it himself. However, at this moment, a voice sounded between heaven and earth. You're taking action in advance? Well, let's fight to our heart's content. With a roar, Wanjini rushed towards the 2nd region and attacked Emoshio. Tianya, are the people on the pilgrim list going to fight? Retreat quickly. In the 2nd region, Emoshio's followers also retreated crazily. They didn't dare to get close at all. Between heaven and earth, countless sword energy descended from the sky, completely enveloping Emoshio. Wanjini, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Emoshio roared. The yellow spring surged on his body, and the white bone spear in his hand was even more powerful. The two fought together, causing the sky to shatter and the earth to crack. Oh, since you've already attacked, then I won't be polite. In the 6th region, Qin Xiener, an incomparably beautiful and charming lady, also revealed a smile. Countless saints around her were infatuated. Their blood was boiling and they couldn't wait to kneel under her skirt. However, Qin Xiener's gaze pierced through the void and looked at the 7th region. Yu Quan snorted coldly. He actually took the initiative to cross regions to fight. Chapter 3982. The only one who didn't make a move was Chao Tianxing in the 1st region. He stood there with his hands behind his back looking into the distance. It seemed like he had no intention of making a move. Young master. The follower beside him asked tentatively. Chao Tianxing didn't turn around. Instead he said, if you want to make a move, then do it. But do what you can. The destiny stone is right in front of you. Don't be impulsive and lose your life here. Yes, young master. We understand. Those followers retreated. Their eyes were shining with cold light. They also made a move. Of course, these people were fighting across different regions. Some of them went out of the region while some of them came to fight. A fierce battle broke out. The others were stunned. They didn't expect a battle to break out so suddenly. This was something that even Lin Xian was surprised by. Was it because of him? He shook his head. He was just the first one to make a move. Even if he wasn't there, the others would definitely make a move. Especially those geniuses on the pilgrim list. They probably wouldn't give in to each other. Lin Xian stood in the 8th region. He turned around and said, "Qingqing, you guys can make a move too. But remember to protect yourselves." Murong Qingqing and the others nodded. "Sister Qingqing, let's work together," Li Hongxiu said with a smile. "All right." The two beauties joined hands and rushed to the 8th region. "Let's go to the 1st region to have some fun." Toad looked at the other region. There were many experts in that place too. Ruffian Dragon and the Northern Demon joined hands and rushed to the 1st region. Of course, there were also people coming to the 1st region. They didn't know what was good for them. Lei Jin snorted and thunder rumbled. The thunder directly pierced through these people. All kinds of screams were heard. The flames of war were burning in the 9 regions. None of them were spared. The 8th region. Lin Xian swept through everything after killing so many saints of the Yellow Spring Palace. The others didn't dare to fight against him. The only one who could still fight against him was the 9-headed spirit. However, 9-headed Qilin didn't fight. He rushed to the 7th region because he had the same idea as Lei Zhen. He didn't want to provoke Lin Xian before he broke through to the small saint realm. "Qingqing, you guys stay here while I make a trip to the 7th region." Lin Xian looked ahead again, his eyes shining with a cold light. His figure flickered as he charged toward the 7th region. The people in the 8th region were all stunned. Damn, was this kid trying to defy the heavens? Even Li Hongxiu exclaimed, "Brat, don't be too arrogant. Be careful, someone is targeting you." She was truly worried. After all, the 7th region was secluded Springs territory. Lin Xian laughed heartily. Yu Quan was fighting with Qin Xiener on the world-crossing chariot. She probably had no time to take care of him. As for the others, he was still unafraid. Soon, there were more than 20 chains of the Great Path on his body. The suppression of the power and nomological laws was even stronger. Lin Xian's body sank, but he quickly used his strength to adapt to the pressure. He actually dared to cross 2 regions. He was too arrogant. The people in the 7th region were also shocked. Those from the Great Desolate Mansion were filled with murderous intent. "Kid, you killed one of our experts in the 9th district last time. Do you really think you're that strong? You're just occupying the home ground. Let's see how you're going to die here with 20 chains of Great Path suppression." 2 people from the Great Desolate Mansion roared as they slashed down with their sabers, shrouding Lin Xian. This was a terrifying mystique. Obviously, these people from the Great Desolate Mansion wanted to join forces to kill Lin Xian. Bus. Lin Xian's figure flickered as he dodged the 2 saber lights. At the same time he charged forward. He was courting death. Lung Rufin sneered as he attacked as well. The white bone fan in his hand kept fanning. Moreover, there was a terrifying white bone army around him. There was even a Yellow Springs diagram that was rotating in the sky. The Yellow Springs poured down from the inside, bringing with it an extremely cold and gloomy energy. However, it was useless. Lin Xian used all sorts of nomological laws and fought in all directions, causing these people to break down. 9-headed Qilin had been watching him from afar without making a move. At this moment he was even more certain of his thoughts. It seemed like it was best not to provoke Lin Xian now. Lung Rufin was being hunted down again. He was about to pee his pants. How was this possible? Lin Xian had crossed 2 regions. There were 20 chains on his body. How could he defeat so many people when he was besieged by so many people? This was simply inhuman. His followers were even more miserable. 2 of them were killed while the other 3 were injured. Their eyes were filled with fear. You want to leave?" Seeing these people retreating, Lin Xian chased after them and started a massacre in the 7th region. "Kid, how dare you? Young master, come back quickly." These people were still clamoring before, but now they were scared witless. They desperately hoped that Yu Quan would return. In the 6th region, Yu Quan was engaged in an intense battle with Qin Xiener. Qin Xiener was using the acacia mystique. She was holding the acacia bell in her hand. When she shook it gently, it could cause one's soul to tremble. This was an extremely strange soul attack. Although Yu Quan was strong, he did not dare to be careless. He sensed what was happening in his base camp. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Ah, damn it. What did he see? That despicable brat actually dared to kill his pursuers. He had messed up his territory. He harumphed coldly and unleashed a shocking ray of light with the back of his hand. It tore through the sky and charged from District 6 to District 7. That attack saved many of his followers, and Lin Xian dodged the attack as well, dodging it in the air. In the 6th region, Qin Xiener laughed coquettishly. "What? You still have the mood to care about other people's business? Seizing this opportunity, she launched an extremely terrifying soul attack. Yu Quan was actually hit. Not good. Yu Quan felt his soul shake and spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, he was indeed careless. Qin Xianer was not weaker than him. Moreover, her soul attack was extremely strange. He actually interfered in another battle when he was fighting with the other party. It was really unwise. For a time, he gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. Qin Xianer used the divine charm technique again. Yu Quan's qi and blood were surging, and he could not help but want to explode and die. No. He roared, and endless desolate qi condensed on his body. Now he was retreating step by step. He was no match for her at all. Therefore he decisively retreated. He retreated to the 7th region. He'd go to hell. As soon as he returned, he charged towards Lin Xian. The terrifying desolate palm covered the sky and covered the earth as it enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he felt a fatal danger. Brother Xian, be careful. In the 8th region, Murong Qingqing exclaimed. Li Hongxiu also cursed inwardly. The other party had actually returned. It was too sudden. Lin Xian shifted his position and used space escape to dodge this attack. He felt his qi and blood churning. He had to admit that the other party was really too powerful. Even if he was injured, he was still incomparable after returning. Moreover, he was now suppressed by 20 great Dao chains. Chapter 3983. His followers heaved a sigh of relief. They wanted to mock him, but they didn't know what to say when they opened their mouths. Lin Wudi was just a young chief disciple. His cultivation base was far behind them. But now he could escape from Yu Quan's hands so easily. Was this something worth mocking? They didn't think so. This showed Lin Wudi's strength even more. Yu Quan snorted coldly. If he missed, he would attack again. This time he would definitely kill him. An ant had provoked him time and time again, and had even killed his younger brother. He couldn't stand it. So he attacked again. The aura of desolation filled the whole world. Little brat, go to hell. Lin Xian felt a great danger. He gritted his teeth and roared, holding up the Taiji diagram to resist. Boom. He was pushed back, his arms numb. The Taiji diagram was shattered, turning into the law of sun and law of death. Lin Xian was shocked. His opponent was too strong. He had to use all his strength to deal with a casual attack. And he couldn't block it. This couldn't go on. Useless ants will always be ants. Although you're ranked in the top 3 among the chief disciples, you can't even withstand a single blow from me. Yu Quan's eyes were filled with endless coldness and fear. The 9-headed spirit also felt his hair stand on end. Indeed, they were too far away from the pilgrim list. If they didn't break through to the minor saint realm, they wouldn't be able to compete with him. Great, this kid is dead. Lung Ruffing snorted coldly. The 9-headed Qilin also heaved a sigh of relief. With such a strong enemy dead, his path should be much smoother. Even Lei Jin, who was far away in the 9th district, and the people on the internet were excited. Not good. Murong Qingqing was anxious. She wanted to cross the region to save her brother. Li Hongxiu stopped her. Don't go. We'll wait for you outside. In the 1st region, the dark red divine dragon, the toad, and the others also rushed back. Each of them was extremely nervous. However, at this moment of crisis, a beautiful figure appeared in the 6th region. She tore apart the aura of desolation and said softly, "Why did you run away halfway? This won't do. I'll continue to play with you." Her voice was filled with endless charm, causing the blood of the people in the 7th district to boil. They almost exploded. Even Lin Xian could feel his blood boiling. Not good, he quickly suppressed it. This was an extremely powerful soul attack. He looked at the beautiful figure and his pupils shrank. Qin Xianer was someone on the pilgrim rankings. This woman's soul attack was extremely terrifying. Ding ding dang dang dang. The joyous union bell rang and a terrifying sound wave rushed towards secluded spring. Damn it. Yu Quan roared angrily. This woman was simply like a haunting ghost. She was going too far. The other party actually dared to attack his area. With a roar, he charged forward. At the same time, the surrounding aura of desolation fluctuated continuously. Lin Xian's figure flashed. You wanted to leave. Do you want to leave? Those followers prepared to surround and attack, but in the end they were sent flying by Xian's 2 swords. Lin Xian went on a killing spree and began to crazily plunder the heavenly Dao Golden Lotus. He even made a move on the Dao Flower. I won't miss any of them. Those followers received another blow. Damn it. Secluded Spring roared angrily. This kid dared to attack in front of him. He was too hateful. However, he couldn't be distracted because he was firmly restrained by Qin Xiener. Previously he was distracted by Lin Xian's matter and suffered a soul injury, so he left. Therefore he didn't dare to be careless at all. Lin Xian obtained 4 more heavenly Dao golden lotuses. He tore apart the aura of desolation and left the 7th area. He returned to the 8th area. That's great. Murong Qingqing and the others heaved a sigh of relief and left. Lin Xian returned to the 9th area. He took a deep breath and said, "Protect me. I'm going to break through." His eyes burst out with a sonorous light. The simple exchange with secluded spring made him know that the other party was indeed very strong. With his current strength, it would be difficult for him to fight against the other party. Therefore he was ready to break through again. After his cultivation level broke through, he would definitely be able to fight against these people. "Are you going to break through here?" Li Hongxiu was surprised. The dark red divine dragon and the others were also surprised, but soon they asked, "Kid, what are you going to do?" There weren't many treasures in this place, only ruthless killing. Lin Xian said, "I'm going to completely absorb these heavenly Dao golden lotuses. Protect me." Murong Qingqing and the others nodded and began to guard the surroundings. No one in the entire 9th area dared to provoke them. They could deal with the people from the 1st and 8th areas. As for the geniuses on the pilgrim list, they were not in the mood to pay attention to Lin Xian at all. They were all fighting on their own. Therefore Lin Xian had such a chance now. He sat down cross-legged, and the 12 heavenly Dao golden lotuses kept spinning around him. Lin Xian reached out and grabbed one of them and directly absorbed it into his body. This scene caused everyone to be terrified. "Oh my god, this Lin Wudi is going to absorb these heavenly Dao golden lotuses. It is really unbelievable." These heavenly Dao golden lotuses were incomparably mysterious. They accompanied them and could constantly temper their nomological laws. But they had never thought of absorbing them. Lin Xian's current actions were truly shocking. Everyone's eyes were glued to him. Even Murong Qingqing and the others were very nervous, but they guessed that Lin Xian must have his own plans. He wouldn't do something that he wasn't confident of. Lin Xian did have a certain plan. He knew that these heavenly Dao golden lotuses contained supreme power, but he wasn't confident at all. But now, as long as there was a chance, he wouldn't miss it. When a heavenly Dao golden lotus entered, supreme power burst out and rushed into his flesh and meridians. Lin Xian felt a pain as if a knife was cutting him. He endured this aura and quickly absorbed it. Then the 2nd and the 3rd. Lin Xian swallowed all 12 heavenly Dao golden lotuses into his body. Endless light enveloped his body, and the great Dao interweaved. "Brother Xian, I'll give you mine too." Murong Qingqing gave out the 5 heavenly Dao golden lotuses on her body. She gave them to Lin Xian. "I'll give them too." The dark red divine dragon and the others also gave them to him. The toad was a demonic beast here, so he didn't have any. When Li Hongxiu saw this scene, she sighed as well. She gave her share to Lin Xian as well. The heavenly Dao golden lotus on Lin Xian's body shone brightly again. He looked like he was about to ascend. That kid wanted to break through. He definitely couldn't let him succeed. Not far away someone roared. These were all Yu Quan's followers. There were people from the Great Desolate Mansion and there were also other experts. These people hated Lin Xian to the core. So when they saw this they all rushed over. Once again they crossed 2 areas and started fighting. Kill. Chapter 3984. Damn it. The dark red dragon roared at the sky, spewing out endless flames. Murong Qingqing even shot out a terrifying phoenix phantom. Lung Ruffing also rushed over and the bone army spread out again. At the same time he shouted angrily, "Lei Jin 9 Qilins, aren't you going to make a move?" This was the last chance. He naturally knew the grudge between the 2 sides. So at this moment he wanted to unite everyone to fight together. Not good. Murong Qingqing and the others' expressions were extremely ugly. Now that Lin Xian was in seclusion, these people actually had the tendency to resist. If they attacked together it would be very dangerous. They were not afraid of these people, but they were afraid that Lin Xian would be affected. If that happened he would definitely go berserk and be seriously injured. "Hurry up and make a move," Murong Qingqing shouted. They worked together and swept through all directions. But this time there were more than 10 powerful saints, as well as terrifying sacred artifacts and laws. The North Demon activated the sky-reaching tree to provide everyone with a strong vitality. They firmly protected Lin Xian. The dark red dragon spat out a lot of tremors to protect Lin Xian. At the same time he said that this kid was too impatient. If he had known earlier, he would have activated the Great Sage Pagoda. But there was no other way now. Without Lin Xian, no one could activate the Great Sage Pagoda, and they could not awaken Lin Xian now. So they could only repel the enemy. Lei Jun returned to the 9th district, his eyes flickering. To be honest, this was his best chance. However, he was indeed afraid of Lin Xian previously, so he was not completely confident now. He snorted coldly. He did not make a move. Instead, he had other plans. In his current state, it would be best if he could kill Lin Xian. If he could not kill him, he would not make a move to save himself from trouble. However, on the other side, the 9 Qilins had indeed made a move. He had the same worries as Lei Zhen, but he had an advantage over Lei Zhen. That was, he had multiple lives and he could exhaust them. Even if he had lost 2 lives previously, he still had 7 left. This was his powerful capital, and now he felt that the risk was very worth it. At most, he would lose his life. However, if he succeeded, he would be able to get rid of a peerless enemy forever. Therefore he charged over. Some of the greater demons from the Myriad Demon City also charged over from the surrounding areas. District 9. The 5 Sword Saints also made their move. They were in this area and were not suppressed by the Great Tao. Therefore his attacks were incomparably violent. Damn it, how dare you rebel! The dark red dragon roared. It hadn't expected that someone would really make a move in the 9th district. Li Hongxiu looked at Lei Jin coldly. Lei Jin snorted coldly. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, he actually left District 9 and went to District 1. That was a relief to them. Lei Jin didn't make a move, but it wasn't the worst. However, the current situation had also exceeded their expectations. The 5 Sword Saints were incomparably powerful as they charged over. Li Hongxiu said, "Leave these 5 people to me." She rushed out. As the daughter of the Saint King, she was extremely powerful, especially during this period of time. She had a lot of good fortune. Therefore he had no problem fighting against a great sword saint. On the other side, the 9 Qilins had also charged over. That was an extremely terrifying expert. Everyone's scalps went numb. Murong Qingqing said, "Leave it to me." She rushed over with the Phoenix bloodline. Her mystical powers were powerful, and she was not weaker than the other party in terms of bloodline. Therefore she was the most suitable person to fight against the 9 Qilins. Toad, I'll leave that person from the Acheron Hall to you. Leave the rest to me. The dark red dragon's expression was piercingly cold. Toad said, "Don't worry, leave it to me." He rushed out and fought with Lung Rufin and the others. The rest were left to the dark red dragon. The dark red dragon roared and turned into a huge dragon, sweeping in all directions. As for the North Demon, he didn't make a move because he still had the most important task, which was to protect Lin Xian. The North Demon's body bloomed with light, and the heavenly tree enveloped Lin Xian, forming a powerful vitality. Moreover, there were many array formations surrounding them. For a moment, an earth-shattering battle broke out in the 9th district. Murong Qingqing was very strong. She had the Kunlun 9 slashes and the Phoenix bloodline. She also had various mystical powers. This caused the 9 Qilins to be extremely shocked. He didn't expect that this woman was actually not weaker than him. Especially the power of her bloodline, it shocked him. On the other side, the 5 Sword Saints also roared. They were actually suppressed by a woman and they were even injured. However, on the other side, Toad was indeed screaming miserably. "Damn, you dare to sneak attack me?" He had no choice. He was facing an endless army of bones and the terrifying Acheron. He was extremely miserable. If it weren't for his mutated species and powerful physique, he would have been killed long ago. On the other side, the dark red dragon was roaring. To be honest, he was very strong, but the people he was facing were also a little terrifying. Those were all followers, and their strength was even stronger than that of the chief disciple. Although there were 20 chains of the Great Tao wrapped around his body, he couldn't withstand the number of people. There were a total of 8 people and they came together. In addition, there were also some people who were preparing to fish in troubled waters and assassinate Lin Xian. Therefore the pressure he faced was very great. Fortunately, he was from the Divine Dragon clan. His physique and bloodline were powerful, and the dragon's mystical powers were terrifying. In addition, he had many array formations. Only then could he resist. Otherwise, if it were any other chief disciple, they would have been killed long ago. Even so, he was still in a very bad situation. That's great, all of them have been pinned down. Hurry up, whoever has a grudge against Lin Wudi, hurry up and kill him. The great desolate mansion will reward you handsomely. You don't have to kill him. As long as you can make him go berserk, you can make any request. Many people were tempted. Especially those in the 8th and 1st regions, their eyes were burning. Indeed, at this moment there was only one person beside Lin Xian. It was very easy for them to interfere with him. Even Lei Zhen, who was in the first region, had a burning gaze. He couldn't help but want to attack a few times, but he forcibly suppressed it. The surrounding people were also shocked. They were indeed tempted, but they didn't dare to act rashly. Lin Wudi's strength was deeply ingrained in their hearts. However, at this moment the array formations fluctuated, and 3 of them broke in an instant. The sky-reaching tree also shook. The North Demon roared angrily. Who was it? He threw out the terrifying 10,000 demon fist. Countless demonic beast phantoms rampaged between heaven and earth, shattering the void. However, no one came out. However, he could feel a terrifying murderous intent circling around him. Oh no, there's an assassin, and it's an extremely terrifying saint killer. The North Demon's expression became extremely ugly, and the others' bodies trembled. The killing intent made their scalps go numb. Where did this top-notch assassin come from? How could he be so powerful? Li Hongxiu's expression changed. Could it be the mortal world? Could it be Wuxian? Chapter 3985. They were worried, but they soon shook their heads. No, it wasn't Wuxian. Wuxian was on the pilgrimage list. He shouldn't have bothered to make a move. Once he made a move, no one would be able to stop him. Now, only 3 arrays had been destroyed. This meant that the other party was a 5th heaven killer saint. He was very strong, but there was nothing they could do. As expected, the Northern Demon controlled the sky-reaching divine tree and had the 10,000 demon body. He attacked the saint killer who was hiding in the dark. The 2 sides were in a stalemate. However, at this moment he was sent flying while vomiting blood. A crack appeared on his back. He was almost cut in half. Damn it. The Northern Demon roared. Using the sky-reaching divine tree, his body quickly healed. At the same time, his expression was extremely ugly. The second killer saint had appeared. He was not weaker than the first. At that instant he sensed 3 murderous intents approaching him. The Northern Demon's eyes widened. He took the attack head-on. His body was shattered, but with his powerful vitality he was able to recover. With the recovery ability of the heavenly tree he recovered quickly. He stood in the void with a cold expression. He was surrounded by 3 killer saints. Could be said that he was in extreme danger. Damn it. The dark red dragon roared and wanted to rush back. However, he was pinned down. Murong Qingqing and the others were in the same situation. No one could help the Northern Demon now. The Northern Demon could fight against 1 killer saint, but against 2 killer saints he was probably more passive. Now that 3 of them were attacking together, he was in extreme danger. The 2 slaughter saints sprang into action at incredible speed. 1 in front and 1 behind, they charged at the Northern Demon. The 3rd killer saint charged at Lin Xian. You're courting death. The Northern Demon roared. The sky-reaching divine tree erupted with power and blocked the 3 killer saints. You're courting death. Someone in the sky sneered. The 3 killer saints attacked crazily. The Northern Demon was seriously injured in an instant. Blood flowed out. Fortunately, he had the sky-reaching divine tree. Otherwise he would have been killed. Even so, the situation was very dangerous. Another attack. The Northern Demon was sent flying and vomited blood. 2 of the killer saints continued to chase. The 3rd broke through the array and charged at Lin Xian. After breaking through 5 array formations in a row, he finally arrived in front of Lin Xian. This figure walked out of the void. It was a blurry shadow. The killing sword in his hand was blood red. He swung his sword at Lin Xian's head. No. The Northern Demon roared. Brat! The dark red dragon shrieked. Older brother Xian and Murong Qingqing's eyes erupted with a piercing cold light. The Kunlun 9 slashes merged with the Phoenix Phantom and sent the 9-headed Qilin flying. She turned around and soared into the sky, but it was already too late. The killing sword had already descended mercilessly with a terrifying aura. This caused the formation around Lin Xian to continuously shatter. Everyone's minds were completely tied down. Could it be that Lin Wudi was going to fall at this time? It was really too surprising. The people that had participated in the battle revealed ferocious expressions. That's great. With this sword strike, even if the other party doesn't die, his cultivation will go berserk. Next, the other party would be finished. He would no longer be able to contend against them. At this moment of crisis, Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. He stretched out his palm and grabbed in front of him. With a whoosh, he grabbed the killing sword and then gripped it hard. Crack. The killing sword shattered. That person retreated in fear. Lin Xian pointed out again. On the tip of his finger, an extremely terrifying sword law revolved around it, firmly locking onto that person. That person still wanted to escape into the void, but in the end the sword pierced through the space between his eyebrows. Plop. That killing god fell into a pool of blood. He didn't expect that at the last moment, the other party would still be able to make a move. The surrounding people were also stunned. Heavens, Lin Wuti actually woke up. Did he forcefully interrupt his cultivation? These people were all terrified. Those who attacked were even more frightened, their eyelids twitching wildly. That's great. Murong Qingqing and the others heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood, his face becoming incomparably pale. What's going on? Murong Qingqing was stunned. Brother Xian. She cried out in alarm. The dark red divine dragon also frowned. Not good, this kid must have suffered a backlash from his cultivation technique. They began to worry again. Lin Xian forcefully disrupted his cultivation. He must have suffered internal injuries. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they all laughed out loud. That's great, he's injured. Hurry up and kill him while he's sick. These people attacked crazily again. Lin Xian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes erupting with a piercing cold light. You all have to die. The killing intent on his body was incomparable. In an instant he charged towards the two killing saints who were besieging the northern demon. When the two killing saints saw Lin Xian charging towards them, they also took the initiative to meet him. The terrifying killing intent charged for 9 days. Lin Xian attacked the Sun Sword and the Death Demonic Blade. Two rays of light spun between heaven and earth, enveloping the two killers. Two screams rang out. The bodies of the two killing saints split open. Their souls wanted to escape, emitting waves of fear. Too powerful. The other party was still so strong even though he was injured. In an instant the two of them were completely killed. The heavenly Tao golden lotus on their bodies was snatched away by Lin Xian and directly swallowed into his body. Lin Xian roared towards the sky, his black hair dancing in the wind. He said to the northern demon, "You recover first, leave the rest to me." With a stomp of his foot, he charged towards the dark red divine dragon. Kid, you came at the right time. The dark red divine dragon roared and sent those people flying. At the same time he said, "Are you all right? Why don't we retreat first?" "No, I won't leave until I kill all of them today." Lin Xian was really angry. He had already been very merciful to these people before. He didn't kill them all. But he didn't expect that these people would be so reckless. At the most critical moment of his cultivation they came to kill him. Since that was the case, then bear his anger. Boom. The great sun sword descended from the sky with terrifying flames, incinerating everything. The laws contained in it were really too many. With one sword, those followers were instantly sent flying. Some were cut in half at the waist and some had their heads flying. Some people's bodies even shattered and turned into a bloody mist. Damn it, why was he still so strong? These people were terrified. They found that although Lin Xian kept vomiting blood, the aura on his body was becoming more and more violent. He was still alive. He was still cultivating. He still wanted to break through. Hurry up and stop him. You can't let him continue. Those followers roared crazily. They wanted the others to attack. The 9 Qilins, the 5 sword saints, Lung Ruffing and the others saw this scene. They also kept attacking. However, they were firmly restrained by Murong Qingqing and the others. They didn't even have a chance to escape. Damn it, their eyes were red. Lin Xian attacked with all his might, constantly chasing after these followers. Chapter 3986. Corpses flew all over the sky and blood flowed wildly. Terrifying sword chi rampaged between heaven and earth. Lin Xian roared and absorbed all of this power. At the same time, there was a dragon shadow behind him that was also crazily devouring this power. Lin Xian's aura became stronger. He even felt like he was about to break through. However, Lin Xian didn't break through at all. Instead, he suppressed it. Go. With a roar, he charged towards the toad again. Great kid, come and help me. I'm going to torture you to death. As the toad fought against the bone army, it kept spitting saliva. To be honest, it was about to go crazy from anger. The people who had died around him could actually be mobilized by Lung Rufen. The more it fought, the more bone army there was. It almost vomited blood. When Lung Rufen saw the other party coming, he also shouted angrily. The Yellow Springs diagram on his body became even more terrifying, enveloping the entire area. In the 9th district, the corpses of the people who had died were once again condensed into puppets by him. It kept attacking. A sword split the sky. Lin Xian held the sun sword and the death demonic saber in his hands, slashing in all directions. He was so strong that no one could compare to him. At the same time, he struck out the Tai Chi diagram to fight against the Yellow Springs diagram. The two peerless divine abilities clashed, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to split. At this moment, everyone was sent flying. The bone army beside Lung Rufin was constantly shattered and destroyed by the Tai Chi diagram. The dragon soul in Lin Xian's body roared and struck out with sword chi, which was even more terrifying. The sword chi that filled the sky shattered the Yellow Springs diagram. In the end, the yin-yang diagram turned into a yin-yang sword and split open the Yellow Springs diagram. Lung Rufin vomited blood. Ah, damn it. He was seriously injured in an instant. Was the other party so strong? Lin Xian also spat out a mouthful of blood, but his eyes were even brighter. I've spared you twice, but you still don't know what's good for you. Do you think I don't dare to kill you? The Tai Chi diagram rotated and turned into a peerless blade that pierced towards the other party's head. No. Lung Rufin screamed crazily. He wanted to retreat, but his head was chopped off. His head flickered in the sky, unusually ferocious. Damn it. I'm going to kill you. Roaring, he opened his mouth and spat out a yellow flame. That flame was terrifying and carried with it a sinister and cold aura. Not good. The toad instantly retreated frantically. Kid, this is the Yellow Springs flame. Be careful, it's unusually scary. The flames were indeed terrifying. Ordinary flames carried a violent and destructive aura. However, this flame was incomparably cold like ice. Legend has it that this flame came from the Yellow Springs, which was extremely strange. Die for me. Lung Rufin controlled the netherworld flame and charged over again. He wanted to completely burn and refine Lin Xian. Playing with fire in front of me? Displaying one's slight skill before an expert. Lin Xian sneered. The 9 suns' divine fire danced and turned into golden crows. It surged between heaven and earth. It was as if countless suns had appeared in the 9th region. The golden crow suns that filled the sky continued to attack, erupting with an unparalleled aura. It blasted forward. When the two collided, the netherworld flame was unable to withstand the impact and exploded. Boom. Lung Rufin's head also exploded with a loud bang. His soul, mixed with blood, quickly fled. Wanna leave? Lin Xian sneered. The Tai Chi diagram above his head turned into a Tai Chi sword. The sword slashed down. In the 9th region, a dragon's roar sounded. Terrifying sword chi swept across the 9 heavens. When all the sword chi disappeared, Lung Rufin's soul couldn't be any more dead. Lung Rufin was killed. Everyone was shocked and then terrified. This was even more powerful than the identity of a follower. He was the chief disciple of the Yellow Springs Hall. Such a person's death would set off a huge storm. However, this storm was nothing to Lin Xian. He turned his head and stared at another place. That was the 5 Sword Saints. These 5 Sword Saints actually dared to betray him. Lin Xian couldn't tolerate it. The 5 Sword Saints were scared out of their wits. The sword technique that Lin Xian used when he killed Lung Rufin. It already made their hair stand on end. Now that the other party was attacking them, how could they resist? Let's go. The 5 of them worked together to force Li Hongxiu back and then prepared to escape. Where were they going? Li Hongxiu stopped the terrifying Lu Yunxiu and blocked the path of the 5 people. Damn it. The 5 of them roared. When they turned around and wanted to attack, Lin Xian had already arrived. The 5 of you, have you thought about how to die? Yi's voice was incomparably cold. Kid, don't go too far. Let us leave and we will stop here. Everyone will be safe. One of the 5 Sword Saints said coldly. Even now, you still dare to clamor in front of me. It seems that you really don't know what's good for you. Bus. Lin Xian moved the great sun sword in his hand. The flames on it erupted, turning into a terrifying sword light that pierced forward. With a puff, the head of one of the Sword Saints was blown apart. His body also turned into a bloody mist. Another terrifying sword chi exploded. The 2 next to him were also affected and were seriously injured. 1 sword, 1 dead and 2 injured. This power was terrifying to the extreme. Damn it, the remaining 4 Sword Saints were scared out of their wits. How could they fight with such combat strength? Moreover, they found that after killing Lung Rufin, Lin Xian spat out a lot of blood again. However, the other party's aura was even more violent. However, the other party was still suppressing it and didn't want to break through. What was the other party planning? It was hard for them to imagine that once the other party really broke through, what realm would he have to reach? This guy couldn't be thinking of achieving it in one go, right? These people were all terrified. Bus. Suddenly the world shook and a terrifying aura tore through the 9th district. The void split open and the light slashed down. Not good. Li Hongxiu's expression changed. Lu Yunxiu rushed out wanting to block. But it was all shattered in an instant. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He took Li Hongxiu with him and used space escape. He dodged this attack. At the same time he looked into the distance. Who attacked? Was it that one Jenny? That's great. The remaining 4 sword saints were ecstatic. Kid, do you still dare to attack now? Our powerhouse on the pilgrim list is right here. Before they could finish their words, their heads all flew out. Lin Xian attacked forcefully. So what if it was the pilgrim list? Even if the Saint King was here today, I would still kill him. Lin Xian was extremely powerful. The long sword in his hand was wide open and closed. The Taiji diagram rotated and released a terrifying yin-yang sword chi, completely killing the 4 of them. No. The 4 of them only let out an unwilling roar, and their souls were destroyed. The heavenly path golden lotuses on these people, including their storage rings, were all broken by Lin Xian. The energy was absorbed by him. The aura on his body erupted again and rose. And he spat out another mouthful of blood. This scene made the corners of everyone's mouths twitch. Damn it. They now felt that Lin Xian spat out blood on purpose. Because the more blood he spat out, the more terrifying the other party's aura became. Chapter 3987. Until now. Those who had tried to assassinate Lin Xian before were all dead. Of course except for one person. That was the 9-headed Qilin. The 9-headed Qilin was scared out of his wits at this moment. Originally he thought that this was the best opportunity to kill the other party, but he didn't expect that he would be able to turn the other party around. He couldn't fight any longer. He took on Murong Qingqing's attack head-on and then quickly fled. How could Lin Xian let the other party escape? His entire body turned into a flying sword and instantly caught up with the other party. The 2 of them had an earth-shattering battle. How could the 9-headed Qilin be a match for Lin Xian? So in the end he was killed again and his corpse quickly fled. At this point, he had lost another life. There were only 6 left. However, to everyone's horror, Lin Xian didn't stop at all. He still held his sword and charged over. Oh no, could it be that Lin Wudi wanted to completely kill the 9-headed Qilin today? The 9-headed Qilin had just been revived. When he saw this scene he was scared out of his wits. He almost fainted from anger. His original plan was to die once in the worst-case scenario. But now it seemed that the other party didn't just want him to die once. Run quickly, he fled frantically to the 8th district and didn't stop all the way to the 7th district. He wanted to seek protection. The 7th district had Yuquan, so the other party definitely wouldn't dare to come. Lin Xian wanted to chase after the 9-headed Qilin, but he didn't expect that someone would appear in the 9th district again. As soon as this person appeared, countless people screamed. This was an exceptionally handsome man. He had short hair, a cold expression, and his gaze was like a divine sword. He was wearing a Taoist robe with countless sword patterns drawn on it. It was very mysterious. There was a long sword hanging on his waist. It was a blue long sword, as bright and dazzling as the starry sky. Jianxin, the chief disciple of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Many people cried out in surprise. This was an extremely powerful genius. Among the chief disciples he could definitely be ranked in the top 3. Some people even placed him at the top of the list. That was because they felt that no chief disciple would be able to defeat him. Did they come to the 9th district to target Lin Wudi? That's for sure. What else? Lin Wudi had killed many sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Everyone gulped. However, there were also people who screamed. That's not right. Wasn't Jianqin in the 4th region? He came to the 9th zone? It spanned across 4 major regions. He had over 40 chains of Great Tao on him. If they were to fight, they would be at a disadvantage. These people were exaggerating too much. 10 chains were enough to make them unable to breathe. Not to mention 40 to 50 chains. Most likely, his strength would be greatly reduced. The dark red divine dragon, the toad, and the others also sneered. Would the other party dare to behave atrociously? However, Li Hongxiu frowned. Murong Qingqing also said that he did not have 4 Great Tao chains on him. What was going on? The others were also stunned. Fighting across realms would definitely be suppressed by the Great Tao. A bunch of idiots. Who told you that you would definitely be suppressed? Did you not go to the Bronze Gate? Do you think I'm the same as you? I have a magic treasure on me. Speaking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. That was indeed the case. He did have a magic treasure on him. He had spent 8 heavenly Tao golden lotuses. He had exchanged it in the bronze gate. It was a battle robe that could offset the suppression brought by the great Tao chains. That was why he dared to cross the 4 major regions at this moment. Today he was going to completely get rid of this Lin Wuti. He looked down. Brat, you dare to kill so many of my sword saints? Today I will definitely not let you leave alive. Speaking of this, he pulled out the starry sky sword at his waist. The starry sky was like fire. Resplendent sword light swept across the world, extremely dazzling. In the surroundings, the people in the 9th zone retreated frantically. They knew that a world-shaking battle was about to break out. The people from the other regions also turned their heads to look at them. Whether it was Jian Qin or Lin Xian, they were both chief disciples. Moreover, they were among the top 3 chief disciples. Now that the 2 of them were fighting, they would probably be able to tell who was stronger. Who was the number 1 chief disciple? This was going to be a fierce battle. Everyone was looking forward to it. Lin Xian stopped. Originally he was going to chase after the 9 Qilins. However, the other party had come. He turned his head to look at the figure in the sky. Jian Qin, someone from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Are you here to challenge me? If that's the case, then be prepared to be killed. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with sonorous killing intent. Useless brat, although you are strong, you are still no match for me. Jian Qin stepped in the air with incomparable calmness. The starry sky turned into sword chi and accompanied him. As long as he gave the order, these sword chi would mercilessly fall. Every strike of the sword could easily penetrate a 5th heaven sage. Lin Xian stomped his foot and faced the attack. The light in his eyes became more and more monstrous. The aura on his body became more and more terrifying. At this moment, the heavenly Tao lotus on his body shattered. It turned into countless great Tao laws and merged into his body. Lin Xian looked up to the sky and roared. At the same time, there was a crazy force circulating in his body. The sky above the 9th area instantly darkened. Countless dark clouds condensed, and a bolt of thunder struck down from the sky. With a crack, the starry sky sword chi in the sky was sent flying. A huge black hole appeared. Thunder? Didn't this Lin Wuti want to compete in swordsmanship? Could it be that he was also a thunder saint? Many people's brains were a little numb. Lei Jin's pupils shrank. He was still in the first area, and what happened before shocked him. What happened now made him even more terrified. The other party was going to break through. Everyone was dumbfounded. Was he finally going to break through? Lin Wuti, did he choose to break through at this time? What did he want to do? Sure enough, after the first bolt of thunder, the second and third. Thunder poured down from the sky. The sword chi in the sky was completely shattered. Those thunder enveloped Lin Xian and Jian Qin at the same time. Damn it, you dare to trick me. Jian Qin roared. Did the other party want to use the thunder tribulation to deal with him? I'm not afraid of thunder. So what if you break through? You're still no match for me. Jian Qin was also an expert in the late 5th level. His strength was unparalleled. However, he regretted it as soon as he made a move. The thunder seemed to be angered and became more and more terrifying. Even all the dark clouds on the entire heavenly fate planet gathered above his head. The terrifying thunder and lightning were incomparably mighty, completely engulfing the 2 of them. A miserable sound was heard, making one's scalp tingle. The people in the 9th area had long fled. They either fled to the 1st area or the 8th area. Even if they were carrying the chains of the Great Tao, they didn't dare to stay in the same place. Chapter 3988. The toad's eyelids twitched wildly. Damn, this kid was too terrifying. This lightning tribulation could kill people. Murong Qingqing was also a little worried. She also heard Lin Xian's screams. However, the dark red divine dragon was a little suspicious. This kid's screams were very strange. Why did it feel like he was laughing? Indeed, Lin Xian was also screaming, but it was because he was comfortable. Although the thunder had shattered his body into a bloody mess. However, she felt that he was undergoing a metamorphosis. This time he had swallowed a large number of heavenly Tao golden lotuses, and he had fought all the way. Finally, he had accumulated enough. At this moment, all of his strength had erupted. Not far away from him was Jian Qin. Cracks had also appeared on the other party's body. Many places were charred black, and his flesh was badly mutilated. Damn it. Jian Qin's eyes were incomparably red as he stared at Lin Xian. He held the starry sky sword and charged over. However, as soon as he got close to Lin Xian, he spat out blood and flew backward. The lightning around Lin Xian became even more violent. Even he couldn't resist it. Go. He knew that he would be an idiot if he stayed here. He quickly retreated. Do you want to leave? Didn't you want to fight me to the death? Come on, I'll give you a handicap of 1 hand. I'll even give you a handicap of 100 moves. Lin Xian rode the lightning tribulation and quickly flew forward. Damn it, get lost. Stay away from me. Jian Chen was scared out of his wits. As soon as he got close to him, the lightning tribulation increased. Just like that, he fled all the way. How could Lin Xian let him go? It trapped him tightly. No matter how strong Jian Chen was, under such a terrifying heavenly tribulation, his skin and flesh were also split open. His body had exploded several times. He was about to be killed. Senior brother, save me. Jian Chen sent out a cry for help. Between heaven and earth, a sword chi split open the sea of lightning. This was Wan Jianyi. It was a strike from an endless area. Using this crack, Jian Chen escaped. The surrounding people were terrified. Although Jian Chen escaped, everyone knew that the other party had lost. And he was seriously injured. If it wasn't for Wan Jianyi making a move, the other party would have died without a doubt. Lin Xian snorted coldly and ignored Jian Chen. Instead, he turned to look at the 7th region. He soared into the air and charged over. Not good, the great demon king is here, run. The people in the 8th region screamed in fright and fled. However, as soon as they escaped, they realized that Lin Xian didn't stay in the 8th area at all. He quickly charged towards the 7th region. This brat wanted to kill 9 Qilins. Everyone understood what was going on. The 9-headed Qilin naturally understood as well. He was horrified and wanted to flee. However, before he could even move, Lin Xian had already charged over. Thunder and lightning enveloped him. No. He asked Yu Quan for help. However, at this moment, Right Fist did not have the time to pay attention to him. He was still engaged in a life-and-death battle with Qin Xiener. Thus, the 9 Qilins were in a very miserable state. His strength was not even as strong as Jian Chen's, so how could he possibly block it? In an instant he was severely injured. Damn it, he wanted to tear apart the thunder and escape from here. However, he was kicked down by Lin Xian. The golden foot was like a huge mountain, causing his arm to crack. Void Beast. The 9-headed Qilin roared and dimmed. Lin Xian frowned. Did he want to use his spatial magic to escape? It was useless. He used the heavenly secret divine eyes to the extreme. In the sea of lightning, a pair of golden eyes looked through the 9 heavens and 10 earth. As Lin Xian's strength increased, the future of the heavenly secret divine eyes became even more terrifying. He directly locked onto the 9-headed Qilin. There was no way to escape. He controlled the arena and pierced through countless worlds. Moreover, the great dragon sword soul struck out and locked onto all directions. Before the void beast could escape, it was beaten out of its hiding place. The void beast vomited blood, and the 9-headed Qilin was sent flying. The two separated. Lin Xian carried the supreme thunder and directly destroyed the 9-headed Qilin. The 9-headed Qilin's corpse floated up and down and quickly came back to life. However, it was killed again. Twice. The 9-headed Qilin died twice in the Sea of Lightning. In addition to the previous times, he had died 3 times. He originally only had 7 lives left. Now he only had 4 lives left. The void beast's eyes also turned red. He ignored everything even if he was injured. He also wanted to use the power of the void. In the end, he was seriously injured and left with the 9-headed Qilin. Everyone's hair stood on end. The terrifying 9-headed Qilin was actually beaten to death. He even lost 3 lives. This was an extremely heavy loss. The people in the 7th area also fled. At present, other than Lin Xian, only Qin Xiener and Yu Quan were left. In the end, the 2 of them even fought to other areas. Only Lin Xian was left. Lin Xian bathed in the divine thunder and resisted with all his strength. After 5 days and 5 nights, the thunder that filled the sky disappeared. Lin Xian walked out. His body was overflowing with light. The injuries that he had suffered previously all disappeared at the last moment. The aura on his body was much stronger than before. At this moment, his cultivation had reached the middle stage of the 5th heaven. This kind of cultivation was actually nothing among the saints around him, because many of them were in the late stage of the 5th heaven. However, it was not easy for Lin Xian. One had to know that he had a divine body and a dragon sword soul. To break through was 10 times or 100 times more difficult than other saints. And once he broke through, his power would far surpass those saints. As expected, the people around him were terrified. Lin Wudi was already so terrifying before he broke through. Now that he had broken through to the middle stage of the 5th heaven, who could be his match? Among the chief disciples, there was definitely no one who could be his match. Even if he met Jian Qin, he probably did not need the Thunder Tribulation. The other party could defeat Jian Qin. Some of the experts of the sacred city were terrified. Who could stop the rise of the other party? Damn it. In the distance, Jian Qin's injuries had already recovered. However, the wound in his heart would never be healed. The other party dared to use the Thunder Tribulation to deal with him and successfully broke through. All of this drove her crazy. In the first area, Lei Jin's hair stood on end. This person was too terrifying. Fortunately, he did not make a move before. However, he felt a sense of powerlessness. The other party had broken through to this extent. Was he still a match for the other party? That was great. The Toad and Hong and the others exclaimed. Murong Qingqing and the others also smiled. The risk from before was worth it. The current Lin Xian should be the strongest person below the pilgrim list. Boom. Boom. At this moment, earth-shattering roars came from the sixth area. Two figures flew out at the same time. Between heaven and earth, there was holy blood floating. Was there a result? Everyone's gaze was attracted. Even the geniuses on the pilgrim list turned their heads to look. They saw that Yu Quan was covered in blood and his face was pale. It was obvious that he had been severely injured before. Especially his soul, he had probably received a powerful attack from the Joyous Union Bell. On the other side, Qin Xianer was also covered in blood. She was originally wearing a long blue dress embroidered with countless great daos. However, at this moment there was bright red blood standing on it. It was abnormally shocking. However, looking at her state, she seemed to be better than Yu Quan. In other words, Yu Quan was still defeated by the other party. Damn woman, just you wait. Yu Quan roared. Chapter 3989. He had indeed lost to her, but he swore. As long as he found a powerful soul defense weapon, he would not be afraid of her. Next time he would definitely defeat this woman. Then, he would take her as his concubine. After returning to the seventh area, Yu Quan prepared to recuperate. The next step was to seize the Destiny Stone. However, he found that the seventh area was in ruins, as if it had been struck by lightning. There was no one there. There was only one figure standing there. Seeing this figure, Yu Quan was furious. The wounds on his body that had originally healed opened again because of his excitement. Kid, you still dare to come? Go to hell. He was already in a bad mood. At this moment, when he saw Lin Xian, he was naturally furious. He immediately attacked with a terrifying desolate blade, splitting the sky and splitting the earth. Kid, come back quickly. The dark divine dragon roared. Murong Qingqing also said, Brother Xian, don't fight him head-on. They were all very worried. The surrounding people were also stunned. Was this Lin Wudi too excited? Facing Yu Quan, he didn't want to run away. What did he want to do? One had to know that last time, Yu Quan's casual attack was something that Lin Xian couldn't block at all. Not to mention that he was attacking in a rage now. He estimated that within 3 moves he would be able to kill Lin Wudi. Lin Wudi had just broken through and became the #1 chief disciple. Was he going to be killed? Some people felt that the sky was about to collapse. If that was the case, then it would be a big joke. It would be best to kill him. Jian Qin gritted his teeth as he watched the battle from afar. Lin Xian's figure flashed and dodged the 3 blades. Then he floated in the air and didn't escape. Instead, he stared at the figure in front of him with interest. At this moment, Yu Quan's face was pale, but his eyes were blood red. Many cracks appeared on his armor. Some of them could be seen through the cracks, and some of them were even internal organs. These were all torn apart by the sound wave attack of the joyous bell. Moreover, Lin Xian could feel that not only was his body injured, but his soul was also weak. This was a good opportunity for him to make a move. It just so happens that I'll use you to test my strength after breaking through. Lin Xian was excited and eager to try. You dare to provoke me? Yu Quan smiled. The cracks on his body were rapidly being healed by the aura of the Great Desolation. Brat, do you think you can provoke me just because I'm injured? You're too naive. A giant dragon was a giant dragon. Even if it was injured, it was not something that an ant could provoke. Yu Quan's eyes were filled with disdain. Previously, he was able to injure the other party with a single slap. Now, even if the other party's cultivation had broken through, so what? He was only at the mid-stage of the 5th heavenly layer. He could wipe out a group of such people with a wave of his hand. Lin Xian made the first move. He unleashed a terrifying sword light that slashed forward in an overwhelming manner. The people around him were terrified. They had never imagined that Lin Xian would dare to take the initiative to attack. Yu Quan was infuriated. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Truth be told, other than those who were not on the pilgrim list, he did not bother to make a move. Even if the other party was the #1 chief disciple, he didn't think highly of him. But now this little ant had truly angered him. Therefore he decided that even if he would lose some face, he would still kill the other party. Boom. He broke through the void and charged over as fast as lightning. With one punch, the terrifying barren fist sent all of the flaming sword chi flying. At the same time he quickly charged over. Go to hell. His fist turned into a palm and grabbed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved his hand as well, resisting the attack. The golden palm was like fire in the sky. The two collided, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. After that, Lin Xian retreated and stepped through the void. His chi and blood were surging, but his eyes were extremely excited. The people around him were all stunned. Lin Wuti actually blocked it. It was too unbelievable. Could he compete with those on the pilgrim list after breaking through once? Interesting. I hope you won't disappoint me. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. He shook his numb arm and the power in his body began to circulate again. On the opposite side, Yu Quan's expression became somewhat ugly. He blocked it. This was not what he had expected. In his imagination, this attack would be able to smash the other party into pieces. However, he did not expect that he would only be able to push the other party back. The other party was not even injured. This made his face burn with embarrassment. That was a feeling of humiliation. Go to hell. A blade of desolation appeared in his hand, and he slashed down crazily. Lin Xian roared and quickly dodged. Then the great sun sword turned into countless sun sword chi. The sword and saber collided, and a sonorous sound swept across the 9 heavens. Countless cracks accompanied it. The scene of the two fighting was terrifying. The surrounding saints were all stunned. Lin Wuti could really compete with the prodigies on the pilgrim list. However, the other people on the pilgrim list frowned. Those followers were also dumbfounded. It couldn't be, right? They looked as if they had seen a ghost. Had that kid already defied the heavens to such an extent? Emoshio snorted coldly, making a fuss over nothing. It was just that Yu Quan was seriously injured. Otherwise, would that kid have the right to be so arrogant? Indeed, many people saw it. Even though Yu Quan was using the power of desolation to heal his wounds, there were still some wounds that could not be healed in a short period of time. Moreover, as the battle continued, those wounds split open again and blood flowed out. However, the seriously injured Yu Quan was not someone that anyone could resist. Even Jian Qin and the others did not have the confidence to block him at all. Lin Xian was able to fight evenly. This undoubtedly showed that Lin Xian's strength had long surpassed that of the chief disciple. Ah! Yu Quan roared. The aura of desolation on his body continued to spread. After hundreds of moves, he still could not kill an ant? That made him lose all his face. Go to hell. He struck out a desolate mountain and a terrifying aura surged. It enveloped a part of the sky. Wherever it passed, it turned into ashes. Nothing could resist it. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He felt a great sense of crisis. It should be the top secret technique of the great desolate mansion. He did not dare to be careless. He instantly used Tai Chi. He waved his hands and struck out a Tai Chi diagram that spun in front of him. The power of yin and yang erupted along with the Tai Chi diagram. Bus, bus. The Tai Chi diagram faced off against the desolate mountain. It directly blocked the aura of desolation. The aura of yin and yang filled the air. It was abnormally terrifying. He pulled out the great spear of destruction, used it as an axe, and slashed down from the sky. It carried the law of death and the law of sword. With a bang, it crossed the heavy sky and smashed into Yu Quan's body. Yu Quan was instantly sent flying. The armor, which had already cracked, was now even more shattered. He spat out a mouthful of blood and almost fainted. Brr! Yu Quan roared as the desolation scripture in his body circulated crazily. He let out a beast-like roar. The palm of desolation. He struck out an extremely terrifying palm of desolation that covered the sky and earth. Lin Xian quickly dodged. At the same time, he waved the great spear of destruction. All kinds of terrifying sword chi surged out. Between heaven and earth, a terrifying collision sounded. Everyone was shocked. Chapter 3990. Yu Quan was completely enraged. He soared into the air like a humanoid Tyrannosaurus Rex as he fought Lin Xian in close combat. Lin Xian was still not afraid. His divine body was not afraid of close combat, so the battle between the two was very shocking. No way, this Lin Wuti is heaven-defying. Can he really fight against Yu Quan? Why do I feel like he's going to suppress Yu Quan now? The surrounding saints whispered, and some of the followers were even more terrified. They felt that it was hard to imagine. All along, the people on the pilgrim list had been godlike existences. But now, someone was going to go against the heavens and kill the gods. Some people even said, "Young master, will Yu Quan really be defeated?" If that was the case, then it would be a big joke. Mo Xiu, who was surrounded by Huang Quan, held the devil trident with an unusually cold expression. Damn it, this Yu Quan won't fail miserably, right? In this way, not only would he be defeated, everyone on the pilgrim list would lose face. In the third zone, Wan Jiani carried a peerless divine sword with a solemn expression. What a piece of trash. He couldn't even beat an ant. Chao Tianxing put his hands behind his back, wearing a ghost-like mask. He didn't say anything. On the other side, Qin Xiener, who was charming all living beings, was swallowing pills. At the side, they were interested in watching this battle. Yu Quan was completely enraged. He also knew that whether it was his allies, followers, or enemies, they were all paying attention to him. At this moment, they were all paying attention to him. He couldn't lose. With a roar, the laws all over his body spread. The terrifying aura of desolation formed a sacred domain that enveloped Lin Xian. Those laws formed one desolate blade after another in the sacred domain. With a shocking aura, they rampaged between heaven and earth. Lin Xian fought with all his strength. The two of them exchanged blows and the sky fell and the earth cracked. Terrifying laws intertwined between heaven and earth, and a terrifying roar filled the seventh zone. After another 100 moves, the two separated and confronted each other. There were some wounds on Lin Xian's body, which were caused by the other party's desolate aura. Yu Quan was also not feeling good. He was already injured, and now the wounds on his body were even more terrifying. Some of the wounds that had already healed split open once again. They specifically attacked his wounds, worsening his injuries. In the seventh region, the entire space was completely shattered. Not a single place was intact. When the people in the other regions saw this, they were terrified. Too strong. This Lin Wuti can really contend with Yu Quan. That was a genius ranked on the pilgrim roll. How powerful was that? Many people couldn't believe it. Yu Quan was so angry that his whole body trembled, and a terrifying light flickered in his eyes. Behind him, the aura of desolation combined with the laws to form a mysterious pattern. It was a vast mountain range that formed a valley. There was a blurry figure in the valley and no one could see clearly what it was. However, just the aura that was emanating from it was enough to send chills down the spines of all the elite geniuses and powerful beings of the older generation. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Although he was injured, he didn't care. Now, he had a rough idea of how strong his battle prowess was. Dealing with the current Yu Quan would not be a problem. Furthermore, he still had many trump cards that he had yet to use. The breakthrough this time had indeed brought about an earth-shattering change in his strength. I underestimated you. I didn't expect an ant to be able to contend with me. On the opposite side, Yu Quan spoke. His eyes became even colder. However, the battle could end now. You can be proud that you made me attack with my full strength even if you die. Before he finished speaking, he made his move. Carrying the mysterious illusion in the valley, he soared through the air and directly charged in front of Lin Xian. The void in front of him kept shattering. It was clear that Yu Quan was truly furious. On the other side, Lin Xian also moved as if he had transformed into a true dragon. His entire body was blooming with terrifying sword light. At this moment he was also attacking with all his strength. Bus, bus. Terrifying sword chi and many kinds of laws spread between heaven and earth. The void in front of him kept shattering. Boom. The two collided again and a world-destroying battle broke out. It seemed that both of them wanted to finish off the other in this battle. The great spear of destruction in Lin Xian's hand kept attacking. It seemed to have turned into a peerless divine sword, quickly attacking Yu Quan's cracked wounds. He wanted to completely split Yu Quan's body apart. However, Yu Quan was still very strong. Although he was seriously injured, he was still extremely terrifying. His figure kept swaying, avoiding those wounds. He tried his best to block the sword chi. Bus. At the same time, a few cracks appeared on Lin Xian's body. Those were the marks of his opponent's gaze. Moreover, what made his hair stand on end was that behind his opponent, a ray of light suddenly flew out of the mysterious valley. His bones were exposed from his shoulders. It was so terrifying. Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. It seemed that he had to be extremely careful. There might be even more terrifying methods in the mysterious valley. Lin Xian attacked with all his strength. He used the law of sword to the extreme. The great spear of destruction was like a black dragon being waved by him. He attacked aggressively. His opponent's desolate aura trembled continuously. At the same time, Lin Xian used his fists and legs to fight in close combat. He was very confident in his physique. Therefore, he was not afraid that his opponent would dare to fight him in close combat. But, after exchanging another 30 moves, Lin Xian's eyes suddenly shone with a golden light. He activated a terrifying eye technique. It turned into countless golden light blades and stabbed at his opponent. His opponent had been attacked by his soul before. Now he attacked unexpectedly and severely injured his opponent's soul again. Sure enough, Yu Quan did not expect Lin Xian's eye technique to be so powerful. His body trembled and his soul was about to split open. His movements had also slowed down, revealing an opening. It was a good opportunity. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a piercing cold light. He held the great spear of destruction with both hands. The law of sword condensed on it, and a dragon's roar sounded. It formed a dragon shadow that coiled around the black spear. Buzz! He slashed forward with his sword. He attacked the crack on his opponent's abdomen. Before that crack, his opponent's internal organs had already been exposed. Now he was attacking with all his might, trying to cut his opponent in half. Buzz! That terrifying aura caused Yu Quan's body to tremble. Damn it, his expression changed drastically. If it was hit by this attack, it might really be split in half. How dare you? He frantically retreated, enduring the pain in his soul. He attacked aggressively. The length of desolation slammed down continuously, forming countless defenses in front of him. Boom! Boom! An earth-shattering collision sound rang out, and the people in the other areas were all shaken to the point that they sat on the ground. His mind went blank. What they saw before them was incomparably bright. The light and laws of the two completely drowned out everything in front of them. Not good. Some of the top experts had bright eyes. They saw through the laws and saw the battle inside. What had happened? The others also became nervous. What was it that could make these people so shocked? Soon they saw the scene in front of them through the gaps in the laws. Then they were all horrified. Thanks to user Heartache for the tip. User General's reward. The sorrow at the user's fingertips. User 135 ***** 2841 tipped. User, level 7 beauty can't hide your ugliness. Reward. User, the early worm is eaten by the bird. Reward. User, Zhuing Qingfeng carrot drizzle reward. User, Lu Xing reward. User, 10 years ago the East and the West. Reward. User Rong reward. User, reward. User, Xiaoyao reward. User, memories are so painful that they are sad. Reward. User, soup reward. User, bored reward. User, unique, drunk reward. User, Prophet's Prince Charming section reward. Thank you for your monthly votes and recommendation votes. Thank you for your support. Chapter 3991. Yu Quan was sent flying and more blood flowed out of his body. The wound on his opponent's body became even more terrifying, and it seemed that he was about to be cut in half. Only some skin on the side was still connected. The sword strike just now had seriously injured Yu Quan again. Ah! Yu Quan let out a miserable cry, and the people around him felt their scalps go numb. They couldn't believe it. Even the few people on the pilgrim roll were surprised. This battle was also beyond their expectations. Die, kid! Yu Quan roared and rushed over again. Behind him, a figure appeared in the mysterious valley. The figure was abnormally hazy, but it could be seen clearly. Although the figure was blurry, he was bound by 8 chains that firmly locked him in the valley. What is it? Many people felt their scalps go numb. Even Wan Jianyi and the others frowned. The Great Desolation technique of the Great Desolation Mansion was too terrifying. The Finger of Desolation. The figure bound by the mysterious chains stretched out a finger and charged toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He could feel the immense murderous intent. This attack was truly too terrifying. It seemed that Yu Quan was really going all out. With a roar, he took out the great dragon sword soul and slashed forward. Boom! 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 The two of them exploded with unparalleled power. Both of them were sent flying and many cracks appeared on Lin Xian's body. His divine body was also shattered at this moment. From this, one could imagine how frightening that mysterious figure was. However, Yu Quan was even worse off. This time he was really cut in half. Not only that, but many sword wounds also appeared on his broken body. The densely packed wounds were a shocking sight. Both of them were seriously injured by this attack. No way. Everyone gasped. Yu Quan was really cut in half by the opponent's sword. At this moment, Yu Quan was covered in blood and looked extremely miserable. His face became extremely ferocious. Damn it, this is really too despicable. He didn't even suffer such serious injuries when fighting Qin Xiener. Now he was seriously injured by an ant. It was driving him crazy. Lin Xian's body was also covered in blood, but he laughed and laughed proudly. Geniuses on the pilgrim ranking were nothing more than that, and he was still able to injure them. What is that sword shadow on your body? On the other side, Yu Quan's expression was terrifying as he stared at the dragon-shaped sword shadow. Not to mention him, even Immortality and the others felt their hair stand on end. This brat actually had such a treasure? This was even more so for Wang Jiani and Jian Chen. Jian Chen's eyes were fiery red. This kind of sword aura was too terrifying. His opponent actually had such a terrifying sword Dao treasure. Wang Jiani's eyes shone with a terrifying light. He stared at the dragon sword shadow. I could feel the power of the strongest. At this moment, countless sword chi appeared around his body as if they were worshipping the sword god. This caused many people to be shocked. Return of the 10,000 swords. This was the ultimate technique of the 10,000 swords pavilion. With the first of 10,000 swords, it was terrifying to the extreme. Mo Xiu, Qin Xiener, and the other experts on the Holy Pilgrim list were also on high alert. Kid, just you wait. This matter isn't over yet. I will never let you go. If I wasn't injured, you wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Indeed, he was clenching his teeth. If he didn't fight with Qin Xiener, he could definitely kill the other party. Lin Xian coldly snorted. It's useless to say anything now. Today I'll send you on your way. He had a bold idea. The other's eyelids were also twitching. No way, what does this kid want to do? Damn it. Yu Quan was even more furious. His two halves quickly healed, but his face was extremely ugly. Brother Wan, please lend me a hand. This kid's treasure is very suitable for you. Yu Quan asked Wang Jiani for help. Damn this guy, he's too despicable. The dark red divine dragon, the toad, and the others cursed loudly. Murong Qingqing and the others were also extremely nervous. Wang Jiani soared into the sky. Alright, I'll help you. He crossed several districts and came to the 7th district. Lin Xian felt as if he was facing a great enemy. The dragon-shaped sword shadow in his hand became even more dazzling, letting out waves of dragon roars. Kid, you're just taking advantage of the situation. If Yu Quan wasn't injured, you wouldn't have the chance to win. That's right. The demonic cultivator also flew over, with dozens of great Dao chains wrapped around his body. However, he was not afraid. Moreover, don't think that you can fight against me just because you injured Yu Quan. To tell you the truth, we're all minor saints. It's just that our cultivation bases are suppressed here. If we were in the outside world, we could kill you with just a flick of our fingers. Therefore, in front of us, you don't have the qualifications to be arrogant. Not good. Lin Wudi is in danger. 2 experts on the holy list wanted to help Yu Quan. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he couldn't resist them. Lin Xian's expression was also solemn. After saying so much, he just wanted to regain his face. How many years have you guys cultivated? I've only cultivated for a few years. I'm just a mid-5th layer saint. I'm indeed proud of defeating you guys. You guys have the face to call yourselves minor saints. If I'm a minor saint, I can kill all 3 of you with one hand. Facing the pressure of the 3, he was still not afraid. Immortality shouted coldly. He took a step forward, and the yellow springs diagram above his head spun out. It seemed that he wanted to refine Lin Xian. On the other side, Wang Jiani's body was filled with sword chi. It seems that I have to teach you a good lesson and let you know what fear is. You guys are ganging up to bully a young little brother. You guys are really heroic. I can't stand it anymore. At this moment, a beautiful figure floated over and came to Lin Xian's side. She laughed. What? You guys really don't care about your status and want to make a move on someone who is hundreds or even thousands of years younger than you? Qin Xiener, what do you mean? Immortality frowned. This has nothing to do with you. Qin Xiener laughed, and her charming eyes made the blood of those around her boil. Even the demonic cultivator's pupils shrank as if he was facing a great enemy. Qin Xiener giggled. If this has nothing to do with me, then it has something to do with you? What does this have to do with you? He killed the chief disciple of my Yellow Springs Hall. Naturally, I'll take revenge on him. He killed so many sword saints of my Myriad Swords Pavilion. How can I let him go? I'll bring him back to the Myriad Swords Pavilion and let him use the rest of his life to atone for his sins. You guys are just greedy for treasures, aren't you? Qin Xiener giggled. I feel like old friends with this little brother. I want to protect him. Can't I? You can try. Yu Quan also stood out. His broken body had already recovered. His expression was extremely ferocious. Qin Xiener, your joyous union bell is powerful, but can you fight against the three of us? Chapter 3992. Oh, is that so? At this moment, Chao Tianxing, who had been standing with his hands behind his back and watching the battle in silence, also spoke. His figure flickered, and he also came to the 7th zone. He faced Wang Jiani. This scene made Yu Quan and Emoshio's faces become extremely ugly. Apart from Wang Jiani, who had an unparalleled sword chi, these people were afraid of another person, and that was Chao Tianxing. Because he was too mysterious and he didn't easily take action. However, no one dared to doubt his strength. At this moment, his appearance made Emoshio and Yu Quan feel like they were facing a great enemy. Qin Xiener's smile became even more charming as she spoke in a coquettish voice. What's wrong? Is this lineup enough to stop you all? Chao Tianxing, are you going to interfere in this matter? Are you going to protect this kid? Wang Jiani's voice was biting cold, and the sword intent on his body became even more terrifying, as if it was going to pierce the sky. Chao Tianxing still stood with his hands behind his back. He was wearing a ferocious mask so no one could see his expression. However, his eyes were as calm as water. I've long heard that Wang Jiani's sword technique is peerless. I'd like to experience it today. Is that so? Then as you wish. The sword intent on Wang Jiani's body became even more terrifying. Lin Xian felt a huge pressure. The expert's dragon shadow swayed, turning into countless dragon-shaped sword chi that surrounded him. If they really fought, he would be able to contend with Yu Quan. At least he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Why is it so lively? Do you want to rank in advance? At this moment, another voice rang out. Then a figure appeared out of thin air above their heads. Who is this person? When did he appear? The surrounding saints were all at a loss. They didn't sense it at all before. Even Emoshio and Lu Quan's pupils shrank. Wang Jiani frowned. Gu Feng, do you want to interfere too? Gu Feng, is he the spatial expert on the pilgrim list? Many people screamed. Space was king. The space god art was mysterious and unfathomable, unparalleled. Now that a spatial super expert had appeared, everyone was in an uproar. Lin Xian was also surprised. He looked at Gu Feng. Gu Feng was too strange. He could only see a blurry figure, but he couldn't see his face at all. The reason for that was because the spatial energy he possessed was extremely frightening. Their gazes were completely engulfed by the power of space. Therefore, he was unable to detect the other party's appearance or even the aura of their cultivation. Space was capable of isolating everything. Lin Wudi, interesting. You remind me of someone. Gu Feng's eyes were incomparably black, like two black holes. He looked down. His voice stunned everyone. What was going on? Did this Gu Feng know Lin Wudi? Lin Xian was taken aback as well. Could it really be him? True spirit world Gu family. Legend had it that there was a divine body. Back then, so many geniuses had appeared. In the end, the divine body did not appear. There were even people who doubted whether he had a divine body or not. But now, Lin Xian felt that it was very possible that it was this person in front of him. He wasn't confident because he had never seen the other party before. However, the other party's words seemed to remind him that there might be some kind of connection between the two of them. This connection was probably because they all came from the true spirit world. Just as everyone was discussing spiritedly, they suddenly trembled and looked around in bewilderment. What a terrifying killing intent. What was going on? It seemed like a god of death was about to appear. Lin Xian was also stunned. There was a top assassin. Qin Xiener also stopped smiling. Wuxia, you're here? She said coquettishly. Everyone was in an uproar again. Wuxia was a super assassin in the mortal world. He was also someone on the pilgrim ranking. He had also come. Now, the 7 people on the transcendence ranking were finally all here. However, no one appeared between heaven and earth. That murderous aura came suddenly and disappeared just as quickly. It disappeared without a trace. Everyone even thought that they had been hallucinating. Did that Wuxia come or not? Because of Lin Xian, so many experts on the pilgrim ranking were facing each other. It could be said that this was the first time this had happened. However, at this moment, a shocking fluctuation came from the depths of the Destiny Star. Everyone's expression changed. The Destiny Stone was about to open. I'll spare your life this time. Wan Jian's figure flickered and he returned to his own area. Kid, you're very lucky. However, once you leave the Destiny Star, you're still an ant in front of us. Emoshio also soared into the sky. Little brother, return to your own area. It's time to test your destiny. Qin Xianer smiled and winked. What a powerful, bewitching technique. Lin Xian was shocked. He couldn't help it just now, but fortunately his soul was also very strong. He recovered in an instant. I understand. Thank you, fairy. Qin Xianer was stunned. One had to know that her charm was something that even Emoshio and the others might not be able to completely resist. However, the youth in front of her had recovered in an instant. It was really surprising. Things are getting more and more interesting. I hope you won't disappoint me. Qin Xianer smiled seductively, then soared into the sky and flew into the distance. Chao Tianxing also left. From start to finish he didn't even look at Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian still thanked him. If it wasn't for Chao Tianxing's arrival, Wan Jiani would have already attacked. Those people returned to their own areas, leaving only Yu Quan in the 7th area. Yu Quan's face was cold. Kid, you're so arrogant. Once I recover my true cultivation, I'll show you how I'll kill you. He gritted his teeth. Lin Xian snorted coldly. I'll accompany you anytime. But don't worry, I'll soon make it to the sage rankings. At that time, the first person to challenge me will be you. I'll trample you under my feet and replace your spot. At this point, Lin Xian laughed loudly and returned to the 9th zone. Damn it. Yu Quan was about to vomit blood. The other party was openly provoking him, but he couldn't fight back. This feeling was really too sullen. In the end, he held back and didn't make a move. This was the most important moment. They had all come to the celestial fate planet to wait for this moment. Sure enough, countless people looked in front of them. There was a resplendent light in front of them. It was a scene of immortals. There was a huge stone in front of them. There were 7 orifices and 9 caves. It was incomparably mysterious. Was that the legendary Destiny Stone? It could measure their future destiny. These people were extremely excited. After Lin Xian returned, Murong Qingqing and the others also heaved a sigh of relief. Then they looked in front of them. Was it finally about to begin? They were also a little nervous. They didn't know what level they would reach in the end. Everyone leaned forward and went up. At this moment, a figure in a green robe appeared beside the Destiny Stone. This person was wearing a bronze mask. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.